Ladies and gents, boys and girls, welcome to the Daily Crow. I'm Chris Phillips, your host of the Spurs Up Show. We have got a packed show for you, a lot to get into here on this Wednesday. I see Travie, Austin Gregory, Todd Smith, Brendan M., Jeff Gullidge, Ethan, what's going on? Also, those in the Big Cock Club Discord. Head over to the TDC Questions channel, the TDC Questions channel, to be sure your questions are answered there. Today is a very big day because tonight we will find out who is on South Carolina's 2024 football schedule. And the rumor mill is hot this morning as folks are speculating on who the Gamecocks may play. Our friend Brad Crawford tweeting just a moment ago that South Carolina's 2024 schedule may include Georgia, Oklahoma, Alabama, Tennessee, and Clemson. So, going to be a lot of fun tonight, guys. 7 o'clock. We'll actually stream the show in the Big Cock Club Discord. We'll be talking about it, conversating in there. So, again, highly suggest and highly urge you guys to join the show today, join the Discord, join the Big Cock Club. My apologies. My guy, JD Piquel, just hit me up via text. Got me a little distracted there. Either way, though, highly suggest you join the Big Cock Club. Patreon.com/Big Cock Club. Patreon.com/Big Cock Club. Or click the link in our bio on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, wherever. You will see the link to the Big Cock Club. Austin Gregory says Brad Crawford is not our friend after his Campbell gimmicks. Well, Austin, Brad is still a very good friend of mine personally. So I forgive Brad for any of his comments the week of the Columbia Regional, and I hope you can as well. But either way, going to be really exciting, guys. Tonight, 7 o'clock, that takes place on SEC Network. Like I mentioned, we'll find out exactly who South Carolina will be playing in the 2024 football season as Oklahoma and Texas join the league. Guys, got a packed show today. Of course, in our third hour, we will operate our Q&A power hour. In our second hour, we do have my good friend JD Piquel, who will join us at 1:15. He's going to join us for just 20 minutes or so, which is totally fine. That's what he texted me about. He said, is there any chance we can do a shorter slot, 15, 20 minutes? So we'll keep him in here. There's not a ton. You know, it's funny with these college football specific guys, and especially with them being national college football guys, like there's not as much, obviously, to talk about right now, guys. I mean, it's the middle of June, right? Not quite as much happening, but certainly do want to get JD's thoughts. He had some commentary on South Carolina. I was actually watching his video this morning on the commentary he had on the Gamecocks. So definitely want to keep that conversation going with him and also get his thoughts on the scheduling stuff tonight, who South Carolina may or may not get paired up with, and you know what that will mean for Gamecocks football and for Shane Beamer moving forward. And of course, guys, we got a lot in our first hour as we keep the top 5 series rolling. Hey, we're tripling up on the top 5 series today because, guys, right now it's peak off season. And this is what we have to talk about. It's list season. It's Mount Rushmore season. And so we're going to keep the thing rolling. We're going to talk top 5 home uniforms, top 5 away uniforms, and top 5 quarterbacks in Gamecocks football history. Now, with that being said, the reason that I am tripling up, the reason we're tripling up and what we are doing with content moving forward, guys, I'm really, really excited for this. There is no secret in regards to at some point down the road, whether it be next year, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, or even never. But there is no secret about my interest in getting outside of just the South Carolina scope. And so with that being said, that is exactly what we are doing beginning next week, right? TDC is not changing. The Spurs Up Show is not changing. Don't fret. Don't fear. But what we're going to do is this. With our opponent preview series, the plan was and the plan is to bring on a representative from that team and help us do the opponent preview for the teams that South Carolina plays. Well, I had this idea. Why not do that? Why not do a team preview for every single team in the SEC. And that's exactly what we're doing. Starting next week, next Wednesday, we're going to begin these SEC team previews. And guys, yes, they will include Oklahoma and Texas, because those two teams, while they're not in the SEC this year, it really does feel like they're already in the SEC. When you have stuff like the scheduling stuff coming out tonight, the other things that are happening and all these conversations with Texas and OU being included. So we will begin SEC team previews next week. And guys, my thought process is this. We all love the Gamecocks, certainly, but we all love college football. And guys, this time of year, we just want to talk college football, whether it be South Carolina, it be somebody else. So we're going to do our opponent preview series where we go through, break down every team, UNC, Furman, Georgia, Mississippi State, Tennessee, on down the line of every team the Gamecocks play. But starting next week, we're also going to talk LSU, Texas, Auburn, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, all of these other teams in the SEC that South Carolina will not see this season. And again, I figured, guys, why not? It's a great way during the offseason to keep the conversation rolling, to talk college football with great people, and just to give you guys an idea of the landscape of the landscape of the SEC, and who's good and who's not, and what's going on, and how everybody's feeling going into SEC Media Days going into the football season. So we're going to knock out the top 5 series by Tuesday of next week. And then starting Wednesday and going through the rest of next week and that following entire week, we will break down these other SEC teams. Then we get into July 4th, which will be off, chilling, hanging out, having a good time. Then July 5th, I will dive into my game-by-game predictions. We'll lock that in. We'll begin doing offense, defense, and special teams previews. And then we'll get into the opponent previews for the teams that are actually on South Carolina's schedule. And obviously, those conversations will be a little bit different because we actually play those teams this season, right? The other conversations with my LSU guy, my Texas guy, it's really just going to be an overview of their team, their offense, defense, everything in between, schedule, how they're feeling about the year, and just give you all kind of a sort of synopsis on what to expect from those teams. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Appreciate each and every single one of the guests that we have lined up. My guy Brendan in the Big Cock Club Discord, he says, please don't bring on weather for Florida, in all kinds of weather. I take it this, my guy in all kinds of weather, he is going off on social media. And, I would just say this, guys. I mean, I think many of you, not to go down a road on this, and I've told him the same thing, but many of you have seen my evolution and journey. And so that I used to get in spats on social media. TSUS used to be out there. And as I've grown, I just came to realize how much of a waste of energy that is. And, I've gotten really big into stoicism, what have you. Like I said, I won't bore you with all the details of this, but the greatest revenge, as Marcus Aurelius says, the greatest revenge is to not be like them. And so that's what I would tell my guy in all kinds of weather. Like, he's going out of his way to find replies from 2 months ago and go after every Gamecock fan. It doesn't bother me. I just think, what a waste of energy when you could be pouring that into something productive, creating content for your audience. I just don't think it's a great use of energy. Either way, though, I'm not him, and I don't have any problems with all kinds of weather, but it is kind of crazy, man. He's on a rampage on Twitter right now, and I just, I hope, because a lot of times when you do that, when you hold a grudge, guys, it only hurts the person with the grudge. It only robs you of your peace. So that's what I would tell my guy Neil, and I hope that, he gets it all out and is able to subside that, put that to the side, and just enjoy his team's success and them going to Omaha, what have you. So I got no ill will feelings towards him, but it has been crazy to watch him on social media do his best to just dance on the grave of Gamecock Nation. Guys, with that being said, again, appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. We continue on our top 5 series. And as I've mentioned to you all before, I am a huge uniform guy. I love talking uniforms. My guy, who I know he's tuned in, one of my best friends, we could sit, and we do sit, and we talk uniforms for hours. I mean, I've literally talked to a buddy of mine, talked to that guy about, we could start a podcast just around Let's talk best uniforms of the week. Let's talk our favorite uniforms, our least favorite. We could rank home uniforms, away uniforms, alternate uniforms. I mean, everything, guys. The uniform chatter never stops, right? And I did this last week with my top 5 best helmets. And, it's fun talking about the players and ranking the coaches and all that, but this is some of my favorite stuff when you're talking helmets, talking uni. So without further ado, we're talking home and away. We'll start my top 5 best home uniforms in Gamecocks football history. And again, what's so much fun about these lists, there are going to be very few of us who have identical lists. It depends on your fandom when it began, right? It depends on your favorite teams. It depends on your favorite players. It can depend on a number of things. Heck, your favorite colors. I know some people that they love black, like all their favorite uniforms would just be black uniforms. Some people hate the black uniforms, right? So it really depends on what you like, which is so much fun. But these are my top 5 best home uniform combos in Gamecocks football history. And we will start with number 5. The 1984 season was one that is still talked about and remembered in reverence to this day, right? The Black Magic season. And we mentioned this just last week on these airwaves about the most heartbreaking losses in the 1984 Navy game and how South Carolina was this close. They were this close to playing for a national championship. With that being said, there were great victories in that year, and one of my favorite uniform combos that South Carolina has ever donned came in that season. At number 5, I've got the 1984 Fire Ant Defense Garnet, Garnet, Garnet uniform combo. And I'll say this admittedly, I am someone that I love a solid uni combo. I love when helmet, jersey, pants, all match. I love that look. South Carolina, you remember, tried it a couple of years ago when Will Muschamp was still in Columbia. The monsoon game against Mizzou, Gamecocks went all garnet. Granted, it was the script helmet, which I'm not a huge fan of, but they did go all garnet. And I think the look is really cool. I'm not saying that South Carolina should bring this back on a weekly basis or anything like that. But I think a Fire Ant alternate would be such a cool look. There are so many alternates that South Carolina needs to find a way to implement. Those 1984 garnet, garnet, garnet uniforms. Some of the cleanest unis, we get so lost and let's wear all black. But what about all garnet? Garnet, when you get it right, is such a beautiful color. And you look at those uniforms back then with the striping, again, the garnet helmet with the white circle. I'm not a huge fan of the white circle, but it works in this scenario. The numbers on the shoulders, the striping on the shoulder, the striping on the pant. It is a beautiful uniform. And I guess, too, when you're watching Sterling Sharp run around in those, he can make any uniform look good. But at number 5 for me, the 1984 Fire Ant Defense uniforms, garnet, garnet, garnet. Coming in at number 4 on my list, and you can't do this list, right, without having an all-black uniform. And it's a shame, honestly, and it's a travesty that the Gamecocks do not wear all black more often. I understand some people will say, well, what about our history, Chris? We always lose when we wear all black. This specific uniform, we lose a bunch of games when we wear all black. Guys, not trying to hurt anybody's feelings, but Carolina has lost a lot of games wearing a lot of different uniforms. It's not the uniform's fault. I understand that when we've done organized blackouts, things have not gone well. I do get that, right? I do understand that when South Carolina has done organized blackouts, there have been, I won't even say a mixed bag of results. It's been a bad batch of results. Doesn't mean you should completely ditch the all-black uniforms, though. Just don't do organized blackouts. It's very simple. It's a very simple solution. And so the question now turns to, what all-black variant do you pick? Because it's been done multiple times in multiple different styles. What's crazy to me, guys, is this. What's crazy is this. South Carolina's colors forever have been garnet and black. This was the first time, unless I'm missing something, this was the first time the Gamecocks wore all black uniforms, which is crazy to me. Black helmet, black jersey, black pants. At number 4, and you guys know I love the glossy black helmet. At number 4, I've got the 2004 black helmet, black jersey, black pants. And as I mentioned, I'm a big fan of that glossy black helmet. I've changed a bit from the matte black to the glossy black. I think the glossy black, it hits. I think the logo looks beautiful on it. You got the reflection of the stadium in the helmet. I think matte was a fad. I think that glossy black is here to stay for the long run. I love I'm a less is more guy, right, guys? I'm a less is more guy when it comes to uniforms. Love the big Carolina across the chest, the big numbers. You got the small USC emblem on the shoulder. You'd obviously have to change that. But less is more, right? You don't have any striping, nothing crazy with the stripes. You've literally just got Carolina with a big number on the back, and then just black pants. And you have that USC logo. Again, you could easily swap that out for the Block C. But on a list of best home uni combos, you've got to have an all-black variant. So again, at number 4 on my list, the 2004 black, the all-black combo that South Carolina wore many times over that 2004 season. Coming in at number 3, and it's interesting with these unis specifically, these designs, there seems to be sort of a split. And what's interesting, though, is that based off your success or lack thereof in certain uniforms, that really sways people's opinions on how much they like or dislike the uni, right? And I think that's the case with these. Because had South Carolina not had so much success wearing these uniforms, I'm not sure that I would like them as much. And I think, guys, if South Carolina had been able to hoist the trophy in Atlanta in 2010, these may have been the uniforms that stuck around forever. Because I think Steve Spurrier would have said, hell no, we're not changing anything about our uniforms. You're not, because, he was very, very superstitious when it came to unis. All I have to say is this, and you know exactly where I'm going. Big game garnet. It's a must in the rotation. At some degree, maybe Shane Beamer's found his new version of big game garnet with black helmets, garnet tops, garnet pants. Whatever. Shane Beamer looking to put his own stamp on the program. But at number 3 on my list, the big game garnet jerseys worn from 2009 to 2010, white helmets, garnet tops, garnet bottoms. Guys, when I see those uniforms, and I know they're a little funky, right? With the Under Armour went with like all the crazy piping and pinstripes and shoulder stripes. And when I see those uniforms, I think of winning. And I think of the start of the greatest era of South Carolina football in the history of the program. Huge block Carolina across the chest. Huge numbers. The pinstriping and the piping, it worked for that era. It worked. The beautiful white helmet, you already know, is my favorite, with the traditional 3 stripes. And again, like when I see those, I just think of winning, and I think winning big. I think of, beginning 5 straight wins against Clemson. I think of going to the SEC championship. I think of Steven Garcia doing what he did against Alabama. Like some of my best memories, right? And again, that's why these lists are so fascinating, because for me, that was like senior year of high school, freshman year of college, growing up and watching, and these teams like really gravitating to these teams, and these being some of my fondest memories as a Gamecock fan. So at number 3 on my list, and if South Carolina had won that 2010 SEC championship, had Cam Newton not turned into Superman, I think the Gamecocks potentially would still be wearing these uniforms because I don't think Carolina would have wanted to switch up. I just don't think it would have happened. Number 3 on my list, the 09-10 white garnet big game garnet combo. At number 2 on my list, and I am a bit of a traditionalist. Right? I love vintage. You all probably know that in regards to fashion, in regards to memorabilia, what have you. And so while I do like modern, I do like traditional things as well. And when you talk about, South Carolina football, admittedly, does not have as much tradition as some other schools. But when it comes to black magic, need I say more? Number 2 on my list, the 1987 garnet helmets, black jerseys with Gamecocks across the chest, and white pants. An iconic look for South Carolina football. An iconic look. I mean, really, truly, it's one of those looks, guys. South Carolina brought it back, right, in 2019. 2019, they brought that back, the black magic throwbacks, if you will. And I had people telling me there were people crying in the stands when they saw those uniforms because it brought them back to like their childhood of watching the Gamecocks. It brought them back to, just the memories and their lifetime as a Gamecock. Right? It's a beautiful look. Again, the garnet helmet, I think, is also one of the most iconic in school history. It's one that is, as much as I love the white helmet, that garnet helmet certainly holds a special place in the heart of Gamecock fans. And I think it's definitely one, that black magic throwback absolutely should be included in the current set of uniforms. It should be worn at minimum, I think, once a year. I think absolutely pick one home game. That should be worn at minimum once a season. The last time the Gamecocks wore it, 2021 against Vanderbilt. So maybe because of the results of that game, maybe Shane Beamer doesn't favor them all that much. But they're beautiful uniforms. They're iconic. They're traditional. And they're number 2 on my list. The 1987 garnet helmets, black jerseys, and white pants, which brings us to number 1. And as I mentioned before, guys, I'm a traditionalist, right? Less is more for me when it comes to football unis. I'm a baseball guy. So, I don't need a bunch of bells and whistles and tons of stripes. And, when I see football unis right now, I'm like, why not just make it all match? It's called a uniform. If it's not uniform, then what are we doing, right? What are we doing here? And admittedly, when I first became a Gamecock fan, when I really, the first teams that I really felt pulled to, right? I mean, again, end of 02, beginning of 03. So I recall that 03 season. That's when I really became attached. It got in my blood, if you will. Then 04 hit. Then Steve Spurrier was hired. And I was already a fan, of course. I was already a diehard. But that just ramped up even further. And so these first couple of teams, you asked me my favorite players. I talk about Sidney Rice. I talk about Corey Boyd. I talk about Mike Davis. I talk about Blake Mitchell. I talk about Savell Newton, right? And so these unis, they are so crisp. They are so clean. Less is more. They are beautiful. Number 1 on my list, the 2005 to 2006. And if you brought these back, you don't make them Russell Athletic, obviously. You make them Under Armour. But number 1 on my list, the 2005 to 2006 white helmet with the traditional 3 stripes, garnet tops with big Carolina across the front, big numbers, block C on the shoulder, and then the white pants with the traditional 3 stripes that match the 3 stripes on the helmet. Picasso, it is a beautiful look. In my opinion, it is the most beautiful look in South Carolina football history when it comes to home uniform combos. Less is more, folks. Less is more. I love those unis. Also, white, garnet, white, I think we've talked about before, I think should be the default home uni for Carolina. I'm a white helmet guy, traditional three-stripe guy. Love the look. I think it beautifully just displays, hey, we are Carolina. Here we are. I just love everything about the uniform. So, again, my top 5 best home uniform combos in Carolina football history. At number 5, the Fire Ant Garnet, Garnet, Garnet combo of 1984. At number 4, the all-black uniforms from 2004, Lou Holtz's final season. At number 3, Big Game Garnet from 2009 to 2010. At number 2, the 1987 Black Magic Garnet helmet, black jersey, white pants. And then at number 1, the 2005 to 2006 white helmet, garnet jersey, and white pants. Guys, that being said, let's jump into our first break of the day. On the side, we're going to keep the conversation rolling here on this Wednesday. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. Attention all Gamecocks seafood lovers. Are you tired of searching for the freshest seafood in town? Look no further than the Carolina Fish Market, your go-to destination for the finest and most flavorful seafood in the Carolinas and beyond. Introducing the new Carolina Seafood Subscription Box, a culinary delight delivered right to your doorstep. Each month, you'll receive a carefully curated selection of fresh local seafood sourced directly from the waters of the Carolinas and beyond. From succulent shrimp to mouth-watering grouper to flounder or tuna and everything in between, their subscription box brings the ocean's bounty straight to your Gamecock kitchen. What sets the Carolina Fish Market apart is their commitment to quality and sustainability. They work closely with local fishermen and women who use responsible fishing practices, ensuring that every bite you take supports both your taste buds and our precious marine ecosystems. They've even won Best Seafood 5 out of the last 8 years. But that's not all. They're offering free shipping to all TSUS listeners on every Carolina Seafood subscription box, making it even easier for you to indulge in the flavors of the coast. Experience the convenience and joy of having fresh seafood delivered right to your door without any of the hassle. Don't miss on this incredible opportunity to elevate your culinary adventures with the Carolina Fish Market's Carolina Seafood Subscription Box. Join the seafood enthusiasts across the nation who are savoring the taste of the Carolinas, one delectable bite at a time, and just in time for Father's Day. Visit their website today at carolinafishmarket.com. That's carolinafishmarket.com, and embark on a seafood journey like no other. Freshness, flavor, and convenience await you. Order your Carolina Seafood subscription box now and use the promo code SPURSUP, that's SPURSUP, for $10 off your first purchase. Again, that's promo code SPURSUP, SPURSUP, for $10 off your first purchase. The Carolina Fish Market, where taste meets the ocean.
Marshall Dougie, ho.
All right, ladies and gents, boys and girls, we are back here on this Wednesday, June the 14th, 2023. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Really excited to keep the convo rolling as we've really hit the middle of June. So the peak of the offseason officially upon us. Hence why we're going through these top 5 lists, what have you. But really excited, guys. Of course, tonight, 7 o'clock, the 2024 slate of opponents is revealed for the entire SEC. Gamecocks will find out if they take on either Oklahoma or Texas. They will indeed take on one of the two, but which one and where will the game be played? We'll find that out tonight. Really excited for that. Also, guys, of course, JD Piquel will come on in our second hour to help us break it all down. And then, of course, the Q&A Power Hour, where I most certainly want to hear from each and every single one of you here on a busy Wednesday. Again, guys, thank y'all so much for the continued love and support. Appreciate each and every single one of you. That being said, let's keep the conversation rolling. We just talked home uniforms. Let's talk road uniforms. My top 5 best away uniform combos in Carolina football history. Coming in at number 5, we go back to the year 1984, and I'm a sucker for, guys, especially the road unis for some reason. I'm a sucker for the helmet matching the pants. Again, it makes the uniform look uniform. It just flows. It goes together. At number 5, the 1984 garnet helmets with the white circle, white jerseys, and garnet pants. And I just talked about on the home uniform list, right? Just the tradition of that, of the look, if you will, in 84, the all garnet striping. It's a beautiful look, truly. You've got the striping on the helmet, striping on the shoulders, striping on the pants as well. Gamecocks across the chest, garnet numbers, by the way, and garnet in the lettering. So something different than your normal black numbers, black lettering, etc. It's a beautiful look, and I love the combo: garnet helmets, white jerseys, garnet pants. At number 5, the 84 combo, garnet, white, garnet, a beautiful look. Coming in at number 4, and it's so funny, I just said that I love the helmet matching the pants, but this one does not have that. But it's one of those looks, and it's one of those combos, guys, that, again, I talk when you grew up being a fan, like those first teams that you really fell in love with, that you liked. And, a lot of it has to do with like your favorite memories from the best games you ever watched as well. Well, early in my Gamecock fandom, one of the best games I ever witnessed was the 2006 victory over the Clemson Tigers up there in Death Valley when Jad Dean pulled the field goal and South Carolina took down Clemson for Spurrier to get his first win over the Tigers. In that season, in that game, and at number 4 on my list, what was worn? The white garnet combo from 2006, the traditional white helmet with the 3 stripes, big Carolina across the chest, big number, and your garnet pants with the striping. Of course, the block C on the shoulder as well. Just a beautiful look, all in all. And I love, if you're going to go white, and then a color, I like garnet over blacking, and especially when garnet is done well, right? There's a difference. You can do garnet poorly. We've seen it before. We've seen garnet done poorly. So, number 4 on my list, 2006, white, garnet. Coming in at number 3 on my list, and the first Gamecocks defender that I remember, like when I first became a diehard fan of the Gamecocks, the first guy I remember really making big plays was Coach Simpson. Right? He was one of the ball hawks, if you will, on that side of the defense, right? And I just remember vividly that game, 2004 at Alabama, which it's crazy when you think about just how college football, how it's cyclical, but how South Carolina literally ran Alabama out of their own stadium. Mike Shula being the head coach in that year. But I talked about the glossy black helmet. Love the look. Love black, as a whole. when it comes to uniforms. Love the look. Love the look. South Carolina has black in their color combo. Like, why we don't wear it more is something that's just beyond me. I mean, it really, truly is. Black's such a beautiful color. And also, there's other schools that want to wear it. Like, they'll go out of their way to wear black jerseys, black pants, what have you. And they don't even have the color black in their color scheme. Look at Tennessee, for example. Coming in at number 3, the 2004 black helmets, white jerseys, black pants with, by the way, the big black numbers outlined in garnet. Beautiful look. Big Carolina across the chest, big numbers. Again, less is more. Not a bunch of striping, if you will. A clean look, a professional look. Looked absolutely beautiful. So number 3 on my list, the 2004 black glossy helmet, white jerseys, and black pants. Coming in at number 2, and this is yet again another iconic look, and I know for many Gamecock fans, this is their favorite road uniform combo ever because of the traditional vibe of it, right? Because of the memories, because of black magic. And you talk about big victories. The picture I use on the graphic that I'll post later today is from the 1984 South Carolina Clemson game. Hold that tiger, right? Some great memories in these uniforms. At number 2 on my list, the 1984 garnet helmets with the white circle, white jerseys, and black pants. I think it's a perfect mix of both garnet and black, right? A uniform combo that features both of your colors, right? And then you think about, again, the traditionalist side and just how beautiful of a combo it is and the great teams that wore that jersey combo. We've seen South Carolina do it before. Unfortunately, the last memory I have of it was, at least in modern times, and I forget if South Carolina, I don't think they wore it this past year, but they did wear it in 2018, if I recall correctly, at Florida. And it was a beautiful look. Gamecocks did not win the game, but was a beautiful look. I'm pretty sure that was with the script helmet, though. I think that was with the script helmet. So either way, though, the 1984 Black Magic season produced some of the best uniforms in school history. This road combo is among the best as well. Number 2 on my list, the 84 garnet helmet, white jersey, and black pants. And finally, coming in at number 1, and I don't think it's even close, guys. I think 5 through 2 are really, really close, and then there's a gap, and you've got number 1. Because the all-white uniform combo, and there's so many out there, so many college football teams out there that do this, and they do it well because, honestly, guys, it's hard to mess up. Cliches are cliches for a reason, right? And the cliche is that an all-white uniform combo on the road is the best-looking uniform combo. The reason that's the case is because it's just simply put true. At number 1 on my list for the top 5 best away uniform combos in Carolina football history, Stormtroopers. Need I say more? The white helmets, white jerseys, white pants. Guys, I don't even care what era it is. I don't care if it's the 2010 unis, the 06 unis, if it's the current unis. Like 84, I don't care what it is. White helmet, white jersey, white pants. As long as the striping is matching, which is impossible for it to not to, basically, when you have the same color of all 3 parts of the uni, it is by far, in my opinion, the best road uniform. It is iconic. It is beautiful. I mean, it's just perfect. It's perfect. Do not mess with something that is perfect, and that's exactly what these Stormtrooper unis are for South Carolina. And this, in my opinion, guys, and I think it's a no-brainer, should be the default road uniform for South Carolina. And it's just not even close. It's just not even close. The Stormtrooper unis are by far, no debate, the best road uniform that South Carolina has ever worn. So again, my top 5 best away uniform combos in Carolina football history. At number 5, the 84 garnet helmets, white jerseys, garnet pants. Number 4, 2006 white helmets, white jerseys, garnet pants. And number 3, the 2004 black helmets, white jerseys, black pants. At number 2, the 1984 garnet helmets, white jerseys, black pants, and at number 1, Stormtroopers. Guys, that being said, let's jump into another quick break. On the side, we'll keep the convo rolling here on this Wednesday. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. Attention all Gamecocks seafood lovers. Are you tired of searching for the freshest seafood in town? Look no further than the Carolina Fish Market, your go-to destination for the finest and most flavorful seafood in the Carolinas and beyond. Introducing the new Carolina Seafood Subscription Box, a culinary delight delivered right to your doorstep. Each month, you'll receive a carefully curated selection of fresh local seafood sourced directly from the waters of the Carolinas and beyond. From succulent shrimp to mouth-watering grouper to flounder or tuna and everything in between, their subscription box brings the ocean's bounty straight to your Gamecock kitchen. What sets the Carolina Fish Market apart is their commitment to quality and sustainability. They work closely with local fishermen and women who use responsible fishing practices, ensuring that every bite you take supports both your taste buds and our precious marine ecosystems. They've even won Best Seafood 5 out of the last 8 years. But that's not all. They're offering free shipping to all TSUS listeners on every Carolina Seafood subscription box, making it even easier for you to indulge in the flavors of the coast. Experience the convenience and joy of having fresh seafood delivered right to your door without any of the hassle. Don't miss on this incredible opportunity to elevate your culinary adventures with the Carolina Fish Market's Carolina Seafood Subscription Box. Join the seafood enthusiasts across the nation who are savoring the taste of the Carolinas, one delectable bite at a time, and just in time for Father's Day. Visit their website today at carolinafishmarket.com. That's carolinafishmarket.com, and embark on a seafood journey like no other. Freshness, flavor, and convenience await you. Order your Carolina Seafood Subscription Box now and use the promo code SPURSUP, that's SPURSUP, for $10 off your first purchase. Again, that's promo code SPURSUP, SPURSUP, for $10 off your first purchase. The Carolina Fish Market, where taste meets the ocean.
Muscle Dougie, ho.
All right, guys, we're back. Again, appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in here on this Wednesday, June the 14th. And again, guys, really excited for tonight. 7 o'clock, we will find out who South Carolina will be playing in the 2024 season. And let me say, we'll have a lot of conversation on tomorrow's show regarding that schedule, a full breakdown, or at least the opponents and just what it means for Carolina. Our friend Brad Crawford tweeting this just a bit ago believed that Jamie Bradford, a.k.a. JB from Inside the Gamecocks, friend of our show, has nailed the Gamecocks 2024 schedule. We'll know in a few hours, but all intel points to the following. At Bama, Georgia at home, at Florida, Oklahoma at home, Tennessee at home, at Kentucky, Ole Miss at home, and at Vanderbilt for the SEC slate. The other games, Old Dominion, Akron, Wofford, and at Clemson. So, what does it mean for Shane Beamer? What does it mean for Gamecocks football? Again, we will watch tonight, and tomorrow on TDC, we will have a full, lengthy conversation on just what this means for Carolina. But I will say this, and I just tweeted it out, guys. Fans, I think, really, truly need to exert patience when it comes to Shane Beamer, because the Carolina job has never been more difficult than it's about to get in 2024 with the schedule and the expansion. And I mean, it's just going to be absolutely brutal. That being said, you want to be the best, you've got to beat the best. And I know that they will embrace the challenge. Guys, let's keep the convo rolling, though. Our top 5 series continues, and this is always a really, really fun one because no position is more scrutinized or praised or talked about than the quarterback position. And we're breaking down the 5 best quarterbacks in South Carolina football history. Coming in at number 5, he played quarterback for the Gamecocks from 1998 to 2001. He completed 53% of his passes, 5,656 total yards. He threw 28 touchdowns to 29 interceptions. Most importantly, though, he led the greatest turnaround in school history, leading the Gamecocks from 0-11 to back-to-back Outback Bowl victories over Ohio State, and truly laying the groundwork, I believe, for what came down the road, the glory days of South Carolina football. Coming in at number 5 on our list, the late, great Phil Petty. And guys, again, when you think of what a Gamecock is, tough, resilient, Phil Petty's name is one that comes to mind. And again, guys, the tragic passing of one of the greatest in school history. You know, he was a friend of the show, somebody I had the privilege to talk to and have on my airwaves. And it was an absolute blast hearing from him, and someone that also just loved being a Gamecock, loved wearing the garnet and black, right? Loved everything that the University of South Carolina stood for. He also loved what Shane Beamer was doing, and just loved to watch his alma mater have success. But again, you talk to anybody about, you know, his style of play and what he did on the field. I mean, just a guy that would put his face in the fan, was resilient. You know, he also ran for 4 touchdowns, and he withstood, I mean, the worst era of South Carolina football in 98 and 99. He was a part of that 1-21 stretch. He was the starting quarterback for 1999. And you ask anybody out there, guys, he got demolished. I mean, he got beat up week after week after week behind an offensive line that just was not ready to go and was not ready to protect him. But the thing that made Phil Petty stand out is every time he got knocked down, he got back up. Every single time. And we've all heard the stories. You've probably heard the story from Ryan Brewer. I ain't heard no bell. He was a leader. He was a gamer. He was a Gamecock through and through. And he bled the garnet and black, and he's number 5 on our list of best quarterbacks in school history. Coming in at number 4, he played quarterback from 1992 to 1995, completed 60% of his passes, threw for 8,555 yards, which ranks second all-time in school history. He also threw 61 touchdowns to 37 interceptions. And for most, it went so far beyond the stats. It was his long hair, his celebrations, his swag, his moxie, his charisma on the field. The way he played the game makes him just as much a legend as the statistics and what he did on the field. At number 4 on our list, Steve Tannehill. He also led the Gamecocks, by the way, to their first bowl win in school history in 1995, the CarQuest Bowl, in which South Carolina took down West Virginia. And we posted every single year in our countdown to kickoff the play in which he runs in the end zone. And it really just sums up, I feel like, Steve Tannehill, the play where he takes his helmet off and he's celebrating with the crowd. Hey, who else remembers the home run swing at Clemson, signing the Tiger Paw? As I mentioned, right, the statistics are impressive, especially his senior season in 95. He threw 29 touchdowns to 9 interceptions, right? Over 3,000 yards passing at 3,094. 67% completion percentage, might I add you, in that 1995 season. But it was the moxie, the swag, the celebrations, the childlike almost, and that was the beauty of it. It's a kid's game, and he played it that way. Also, who can forget, in 1992, he comes in as a high-flying freshman. What is it? South Carolina, I believe, is 1-5, I think it was at that point, or 1-6 or something like that. And he led them to 5 straight victories down the stretch. You look at single game performances. He held the record until 2018 for most yards in a game, 473 against Mississippi State in 1995. Hey, he's also got the third highest total, 451 yards in a game against East Carolina in 1994. He also threw for 405 yards against Georgia in 1995. I mean, the list of great performances goes on and on and on. By the way, he is the school's career leader in passing touchdowns with 61, and he holds the single season record for passing touchdowns in that 95 season with 29. The fourth greatest quarterback in school history, Steve Tannehill. Coming in at number 3 on our list, he served under center from 1968 to 1970. He completed 53% of his passes, threw for 4,916 yards. He threw 34 touchdowns to 41 interceptions. And guys, while the statistics are not nearly as good as Steve Tannehill's, you have to also remember the era in which he played. 1968 to 70, they didn't throw the ball around like that. Most importantly, though, of his career accomplishments, he led the Gamecocks to their lone conference championship in school history, the 1969 ACC title. At number 3 on our list, Tommy Suggs. And what a legend he is. He's fantastic right now in the play-by-play with Todd Ellis, right? We all love hearing Tommy. But what he did in his career, guys, you win a title, you win a conference title, and you're the only quarterback in school history to do it, yeah, you deserve a place in this top 5. Like I mentioned, guys, they didn't throw the ball around like that back in 68 to 70. I mean, heck, his final season, the ACC title season, he had 7 touchdowns to 11 interceptions. But the bottom line is this. He led the Gamecocks to the promised land. He led the Gamecocks under Paul Dietzel to a place they had never been. And for that reason, Tommy Suggs sits firmly in the top 5, coming in at number 3. At number 2 on our list, He played quarterback for the Gamecocks from 2008 to 2011. Completed 58% of his passes. He threw for 7,597 yards, 47 touchdowns to 41 interceptions. He was also lethal on the ground. 777 rushing yards, 15 touchdowns on the ground. He also had a receiving touchdown, believe it or not. When you look at the school record books, he ranks third in all-time passing yards. He ranks fifth in a single season passing yards, 3,059 in 2010. Passing touchdowns in a season, for a career, he ranks fifth all-time with 47. In a single season, tied for fifth with 20 touchdown passes in 2010. And guys, led the Gamecocks to the 2010 SEC championship game. He also starred in one of the most memorable victories, and I would say the biggest win, arguably, but I think it is the biggest win in school history. 2010 against Alabama, when he dazzled and took down the number one ranked Crimson Tide, the first win over a number one ranked team in school history. At number 2 on our list, Stephen Garcia, the Roach King and friend of TSUS. And this is another one, guys. You talk about Steve Tannehill. Like, the numbers don't tell all the story. When it comes to Stephen Garcia, a legend, we still talk about this guy. There's a reason why having him on our show last football season was such a great thing, right? He's still looked at as a legend in Columbia, truly, for what he did. And you think about the evolution of South Carolina football. Was he a perfect human being? Absolutely not. We all know about the off-field incidents. We all know about the suspensions that troubled his career. But that was what made Stephen Garcia, Stephen Garcia. You know, without the drunken nights and 5 points and the craziness, and like, you don't get the legendary moments which he provided. And we all know how his career ended in 2011 with Eric Hyman and the alcohol testing BS, whatever might have you. But none of the off-field incidents take away from, hey, guess what, guys? He's still the only quarterback in school history to lead South Carolina to the SEC championship. Say what you want about his off-field stuff. Say what you want about, oh, he was a waste of talent. He didn't do this. If he'd have done this. But Stephen Garcia was unapologetically himself. And to me, that makes him a legend above all else. And oh, by the way, he was one hell of a football player. Coming in at number 2 on our list, Stephen Garcia. And at number 1, this man played quarterback for the Gamecocks from 2010 to 2013. He completed 66% of his passes, 6,074 yards he threw for, 56 touchdowns, and 16 interceptions, including his senior season in 2013. He threw 24 TDs to just 1 pick. He also ran for 1,683 yards, 17 rushing touchdowns, and he also had a receiving touchdown in the final game of his collegiate career. Most impressively, he won 18 straight games at Williams-Brice Stadium, a record, guys, that, dare I say, I don't think it'll ever be broken. He ranks second all-time in passing touchdowns with 56. He ranks fourth all-time in single-season passing touchdowns with 24. And simply put, guys, the greatest quarterback in school history. Coming in at number 1, Connor Shaw. The greatest winner by far in school history. That's it. You think of Connor Shaw, you think a winner. And I know there's some out there that'll argue, well, he had this defense and he had this offensive line. And what about the team around him? Guys, stop disrespecting the GOAT. This man is the GOAT. Oh, by the way, led the Gamecocks. Didn't even mention this. Led South Carolina to 3 straight 11-win seasons in 11, 12, and 13. 3 straight bowl wins. The greatest, by far the greatest, 3-year run in school history. And he was the one orchestrating all of that. We get so lost in the other stars on those teams. And I understand those teams were loaded. Had Alshon Jeffrey, Bruce Ellington, Ace Sanders, Brandon Wilds, Mike Davis, Marcus Lattimore for a year, all on the offensive side, Busta Anderson. All on the offensive side. Then you had Jadeveon Clowney, Melvin Ingram, Aldrick Fordham, Devin Taylor, Shaq Wilson, DJ Swearinger, Akeem Auguste, Stephon Gilmore. The list goes on and on and on. But without Connor Shaw, it doesn't happen. Without Connor Shaw orchestrating that and leading the way offensively, he was the trigger man behind it all. The greatest winner in school history. It's a damn shame that he did not make an appearance in Atlanta. Costly losses, right? 2011 was the Auburn game, which Stephen Garcia quarterbacked. But 2012, the road loss at LSU and then at Florida as well. In 2013, of course, Marquez North, the loss at Tennessee. But still, none of that takes away from his greatness. And oh, by the way, leading the Gamecocks to 3 straight wins over Clemson, cementing the 5 wins in a row against the Tigers. By far, the greatest quarterback in school history, the greatest winner. Connor Shaw is everything you want a Gamecock to be. He embodies what a Gamecock is and what a Gamecock should be. And he is number 1 on our list. So again, the top 5 Gamecocks quarterbacks, top 5 best in school history. At number 5, Phil Petty. Number 4, Steve Tannehill. Number 3, Tommy Suggs. Number 2, Stephen Garcia. And at number 1, Connor Shaw. Guys, we're going to jump into a quick break. On the other side, we're going to get my good friend JD Pickell of On3 Sports on the show. All that and more here on this Wednesday. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. Attention all Gamecock seafood lovers. Are you tired of searching for the freshest seafood in town? Look no further than the Carolina Fish Market, your go-to destination for the finest and most flavorful seafood in the Carolinas and beyond. Introducing the new Carolina Seafood Subscription Box, a culinary delight delivered right to your doorstep. Each month, you'll receive a carefully curated selection of fresh local seafood sourced directly from the waters of the Carolinas and beyond. From succulent shrimp to mouth-watering grouper to flounder or tuna and everything in between, their subscription box brings the ocean's bounty straight to your Gamecock kitchen. What sets the Carolina Fish Market apart is their commitment to quality and sustainability. They work closely with local fishermen and women who use responsible fishing practices, ensuring that every bite you take supports both your taste buds and our precious marine ecosystems. They've even won Best Seafood 5 out of the last 8 years. But that's not all. They're offering free shipping to all TSUS listeners on every Carolina Seafood subscription box, making it even easier for you to indulge in the flavors of the coast. Experience the convenience and joy of having fresh seafood delivered right to your door without any of the hassle. Don't miss on this incredible opportunity to elevate your culinary adventures with the Carolina Fish Market's Carolina Seafood Subscription Box. Join the seafood enthusiasts across the nation who are savoring the taste of the Carolinas, one delectable bite at a time, and just in time for Father's Day. Visit their website today at carolinafishmarket.com. That's carolinafishmarket.com and embark on a seafood journey like no other. Freshness, flavor, and convenience await you. Order your Carolina Seafood subscription box now and use the promo code SPURSUP, that's SPURSUP, for $10 off your first purchase. Again, that's promo code SPURSUP, SPURSUP, for $10 off your first purchase. The Carolina Fish Market, where taste meets the ocean.
Muscle Dougie, ho.
All right, guys, we're back here on this Wednesday, June the 14th, 2023. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. And I want to jump into this really quickly right before J.D. Piquel jumps on. I see Lynn Turner commenting, and I know that I'll catch flack for not including Todd Ellis in the top 25, or excuse me, in the top 5 of best quarterbacks in school history. I like Todd Ellis a lot. And when you look at the record books, he's right up there at the top, right? All-time passing leader in regards to yards. Guys, I cannot get over the 73 interceptions. I just can't get over it. I cannot get over it. It's very, like, when you look at those seasons, and I see people say it was a run and shoot offense, it was run and shoot. Bro, how on God's green earth do you throw 73 interceptions in a 4-year career? Like, when you pull up his stats, guys, when you pull up Todd Ellis's college stats, like, listen to these stat lines. Todd Ellis, okay, year 1, 20 TDs, 22 picks, whatever. You're throwing it all over the yard. I get it. 1987, he threw 10 touchdowns to 24 interceptions. 10 touchdowns to 24 picks. 1988, he threw 9 touchdowns to 21 interceptions. And then finally in 89, unfortunately, he gets hurt, but he was at 10 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. 49 career touchdowns, 73 career interceptions. How? How does that happen? Todd Ellis's stat line continues to be It's got to be one of the most fascinating stat lines in college football history. Like, it has to be. Like, if you rank Todd Ellis in the top 5 of best quarterbacks, like, that is fascinating. I get that Todd Ellis orchestrated some really good teams. I'm not saying he didn't. But, dude, I mean, I know he threw for 9,953 yards. But, dude, 73 picks. That is insanity. That was insanity. Hey, Lynn Turner, hey, you're not wrong. Lynn Turner, the last Gamecocks quarterback to be drafted was Todd Ellis. 1989 NFL draft. Spencer Rattler, I'm pretty confident he's going to change that. There's no question. He's going to change that. There was actually a mock draft that came out that had Spencer Rattler, second rounder, the San Francisco 49ers. So, again, I don't dislike Todd Ellis. It just, God, those stats blow my mind, man. Those stats blow my freaking mind. They really do. I mean, truly, guys, Todd Ellis' stat line continues to be the most insane thing we've ever seen. It's insanity. I mean, it's pure insanity. It's pure insanity. And I tell you this, guys, again, I'm really excited for tonight and tomorrow to talk about this schedule stuff. Because I don't know. Like, I'm not somebody that wants to sit here and, like, project what I think the schedule is going to be. Because, like, unless you've actually heard things from people within, like, it's so interesting to me the amount of people on Twitter that are, like, trying to project the schedule. I'm like, it's a guess. Like, this is literally just a guess, which I guess a lot of stuff is. I mean, when you're making predictions or what have you, like, I guess it's all a guess, right? Whatever. It is what it is. I'm certainly not opposed to predictions and stuff like that, but it blows my mind. Like, nobody knows, right? But, we're hearing that South Carolina schedule. I'm going to talk about this with JD Pickell. He said he's going to jump on at 1:20, guys. So it might be a couple more minutes. But the schedule looks like, again, at Bama, Georgia, at Florida, Oklahoma, Tennessee, at Kentucky, Ole Miss, and at Vandy. I mean, dude, the slate in 2024 is going to be crazy. Like, it's going to be crazy. Like, from the competitor side, I love it. In the sense of, like, dude, how awesome is this? So many great games. So many great games. But, dude, from the just wanting to see the Gamecocks win as many games as possible, yeah. My guy Madison was asking a question. Yeah, we don't stream the Daily Crow in Discord. There's no way to do that. And also, Madison, I mean, you think about it, like, yeah, it would not make any sense. It would not make any sense. So you got to tune in on YouTube if you want to watch TDC. There really isn't a way to stream it in Discord. There's no way. So that would get very confusing. But either way, join the Big Cock Club today, patreon.com/Big Cock Club. We will be tuning into the schedule release show tonight. Going to be a lot of fun. Guys, like I mentioned, beginning next Wednesday, we'll actually begin our SEC team breakdowns. We're going to have representatives from each and every single SEC school helping us break down each of those teams. Of course, we're going to do our opponent preview series where we'll talk about the teams that South Carolina actually plays in the season. But beginning next week, as I should say, we've already got an LSU guy booked, Texas, Arkansas. So we're getting these guys lined up, and we're going to give you guys a bit of a synopsis on every single SEC team and what you can expect this season. So, again, like I mentioned, we got JD Pickell upcoming. I'm going to wait until he gives me the green light. But, yeah, we got him coming on, guys. Again, a very, very busy day when it comes to the world of college football. I think JD's good to go. JD, give me a thumbs up if you're good to go. Can you hear me? We're good? Okay. We're getting the thumbs up from JD Pickell. Again, does a great job with On3 Sports. He joins us each and every single Wednesday. JD, what is up, my friend? How you doing? I appreciate you taking the time.
Man, I'm doing phenomenal. I appreciate you. I was texting you so much like, hey, might be this time. Hey, might be a little bit later. Hey, we're trying to get set up. So appreciate you, man. I'm excited. Big day for y'all. Big day for college football with the schedule release tonight, man. How we feeling?
Feeling great, man. I was going to say, JD, the beauty of this show is, hey, you could tell me you're coming on at 1:30, 1:45. We have flexibility, my friend. That's the beautiful thing. We have flexibility. We're not rigid here. We roll with the punches. The beauty's in the banter. Content bleeding out the eyeballs either way, my friend. I want to say this first things first, by the way. This morning, I actually watched the latest piece you did on South Carolina. It was about a 10-minute video on your show. And I want to say you did an incredible job, my friend. I want to start there, actually, because I know you mentioned a lot of things that we've talked about on this show and echoed and just talked about the importance of capitalizing on momentum. And certainly they've done that on the recruiting side of things. But I do agree with you, JD, and everything you said on that show that, momentum is a very, very real thing. I mean, it is a real thing. It's a fickle mistress at times because the second you get it, it can leave you just as fast. But I think to your point, JD, and what you said, that's why it's so important for South Carolina to capitalize on it because you know as well as I do, the beauty of college football, but also it's a double-edged sword. Like 1 week can change everything, or 2 weeks, as we saw for Carolina literally at the end of last season. So them capitalizing on that momentum, I would agree with you, is really, really big. And it starts early in that 2023 slate.
I mean, can you imagine if we're sitting here on let's call it a Wednesday or a Tuesday after the game against Georgia, and let's just get, they'll be a double-digit underdog, which I'm sure South Carolina is just fine being. Let's say they beat Georgia. Like, what happens to the recruiting trail then if they end up being a team like Georgia? And that's, a huge if. I understand that. Get some folks in Athens mad at us for saying stuff like that. But, even if they beat them or, heck, take that out the window, if they just look really solid and take Georgia to the fourth quarter and lose by a score or whatever, I think that would do a ton for, like you said, the momentum that they have available to them right now. Because South Carolina has worked really hard to get this kind of open shot, if you will, on the recruiting trail. And if they can get a few buckets with the window at where it's at right now for South Carolina, and the version of getting big-time wins, it feels like they've poured gasoline everywhere on the recruiting trail, and this season's going to be a chance for them to really light the match.
And I just really think that momentum, though, JD, starts with Spencer Rattler and just raising the floor. I mean, we all know what he's capable of in regards to when he plays his best game, when it's all clicking. But, I haven't started yet to – I'll do it in a couple of weeks when we dive into, offense preview, defense preview, really dive into the nitty-gritty of breaking everything down and previewing the season, talking keys to each unit, keys to each position group. But, when you look at South Carolina, man, just if they could cut the turnovers in half, if they cut them by a third, you add an extra win probably. Because people don't realize how bad they were last year and how, it's crazy, JD. Again, I look back at some, you look back at some content you've created or whatever, you see some posts kind of come up, I've got the Time Hop app and kind of see different things. And I look back at Spencer Rattler's stat line last year and you're just like, at one point he had 5 touchdowns and 11 interceptions or something crazy. You forget about it conveniently, right? Because the way it ended, but it's he threw more touchdowns in that Tennessee game, 6, than he had the entire month of October. It's just that can't happen though. So he doesn't have to be A+ all year, right? But he can't be A+ week 1 and then F week 2. Can you just get a B game from him from start to finish? I think you'd even take C+ at this point, as long as you don't have the wild spray chart, right? It's like a professional golfer. They're not the best in the world because they can hit one good shot close to the hole. Any 27 handicapper can do that. It's because their spray and their miss is so narrow. That's what makes them the best of the best. I think that you could equate Spencer Rattler to that. Can he limit his misses down to a smaller amount? I think that's going to be really his key this year.
And Chris, we talked about on the last show, we talked about why is Vegas, putting that 6.5 number on South Carolina going into the year. And I think it's for exactly the reason that you just said. For the majority of the season, up until those last couple of games, Spencer Rattler was playing at a pretty subpar level. But the excitement is, okay, there's the ability there. We've seen that when he was at Oklahoma and last year at South Carolina. We saw the way they finished the year, his favorite targets coming back. And so there's a lot there to make you, excited and kind of wait with bated breath of what he could be. But just like you said, it's kind of that, okay, which Spencer Rattler are we going to get? And can we kind of cut down the spectrum of really good and really bad to just hey, we just need, like you said, that B+. I would take a 7 out of 10 Spencer Rattler week in and week out. And I think South Carolina would too.
Yeah, and I think that would produce a very good season and a lot of wins if they can get a 7 out of 10 Spencer Rattler. And also a very high draft grade for him as well, because this is a huge year when you factor that in also. JD, Oklahoma and Texas, obviously they're in the SEC. The schedule release show tonight. First things first, JD, it's got to be a dream. I know it is for me, and I'm just on the Gamecock side of things. It's got to be a dream for you, though, as a content creator from the national scale, which you talk a lot of SEC. You get two brands like Oklahoma and Texas in the league, man. I mean, that's a dream come true, dude. Getting those big players, if you will, what Venables is trying to do at OU. Obviously, Texas, a program on the rise, the way they're recruiting and what Sark is doing. And, again, I know it's something you're in favor of. And it's funny from like the national perspective and from like just the college football fan in me, I love it. When you start getting individual teams, it's like you feel a little bit uneasy about what this schedule show could reveal tonight. But as a whole, how excited are you just to have them in the league and to have them to talk about when it comes to SEC football?
I think we're finally at the part of conference realignment that a lot of us as a college football community, whether you're a fan, whether you're people like us that get to work in this space, like we're at the part where now it's actually getting fun and exciting, and we're going to see these new brands in the SEC. Like we tweeted something out today on our On3 main Twitter account. We got Texas and Georgia, it looks like, lined up for 2024. Like, that's going to be incredible to get those two schools lining it up in the same conference. Like, that's going to be so freaking fun. Can you imagine Reese Davis doing his monologue? And I don't know what time of the year it'll be, but he's got Texas. It's in Austin. You got Georgia coming to town. Like, and that's a conference game with SEC conference implications on the line with the SEC title race. Like, it's going to be so fun to be able to, one, talk, and two, watch these kind of matchups we're going to get. So the conference realignment part of it is a little bit less glamorous to talk about. Well, they're moving for this much money. Here's what went into it. And here's the seedy underbelly of what went into the conference realignment that we got going now. But when we actually get these teams on the field, when Texas lines up for their first possession against that Georgia defense, like that's all going to fade into the background and we're just going to devour it. It's going to be awesome.
And JD, I feel like that's why, college football is not invincible necessarily. Like they obviously need to make moves that drive the most. It's like any business, drive the most value to their end consumer. But that's why I feel confident that college football will always win, man. Because I know people get exhausted with NIL and the portal and the realignment and all the money, but like at the end of the day, it's like Saturday's going to come. You know what I mean? Like the traditions are going to be there, the uniforms, the teams, the stadiums, like the play on the field. Like at the end of the day, Saturday is going to come, my friend. You know what I mean? Like this stuff that fills the air in the offseason. It's fun for you and I to talk about, and it gives us something to talk about. But I don't want to speak for you, but I know for me, man, like I look forward to talking about, I love to talk ball, like actual ball on the field of play. And I think, again, to your point, JD, at the end of the day, man, that's what's going to win because, the alignment stuff can feel overwhelming. But, dude, like you mentioned, Georgia, Texas, I mean, say less. South Carolina, Oklahoma, like say less. I cannot wait to see those matchups.
And it's two really good brands into an already really good conference. Like we're not adding subpar ingredients into the SEC where you're saying, no shade to New Mexico, but if you add New Mexico into the SEC, we're saying, okay, right. I'm not getting fired up about South Carolina, New Mexico. Now give me South Carolina, Texas, and obviously New Mexico is, on the more hyperbolic example here we could give. But my point being, you have two brands that I think are healthy and that are going to have exciting matchups, and it's fan bases that care. Like you add more passionate fan bases to an already passionate conference, and so it'll be, I'm sure, a process for us to get acclimated. Seeing Oklahoma wear that SEC patch and Texas wear the SEC sticker on the helmet. But like you said, at the end of the day, as long as they don't shrink the week to 6 days a week and cut out Saturday, like we're going to be okay. And having two more passionate fan bases and arguably the most passionate conference in America, I think at the end of the day is going to be a good thing from a product standpoint.
Now, JD, speaking of realignment, this came up last night. The folks over at Outkick reporting that it says the SEC reportedly is open to adding Florida State, but not Miami. The conference reportedly will never add two more teams from Florida. Your thoughts on if Florida State were to get the invite? Would you love it, hate it? Just overall feelings on the potential of the Seminoles coming to the SEC?
Yeah, man, I'm torn. I'm torn on that because like we were just talking about a second ago, once we finally get to see in the schedule and we get to see, Florida State versus Alabama as a conference matchup, like, heck yeah, I'm tuned in. Like, I promise you, I'm clearing my entire schedule to watch that game, and we'll talk about it beforehand. We'll talk about it after. Like, it will consume for my, standard week, probably 48 hours is what I'm going to give to that game. But this whole part where, okay, well, now you're not going to get Florida State, Clemson. Maybe now you're not going to get Florida State, North Carolina, Florida State, Florida State, Miami year in and year out. Like once we start to jeopardize some of the fabric that we've come to know and love about this sport with some of those rivalries and having Florida State be in the ACC, the traditionalist part of me cringes a little bit at that. But then once we get to the other side of things, then I get excited about seeing the matchup. So I think if they were to be offered a spot in the SEC, I would have a hard time seeing the logic to not take a spot at that table, unless for whatever reason there was more money to go to the Big Ten and the Big Ten wanted Florida State. Like there's a lot of things here that suits are going to take care of and that I'm sure are they're being compensated accordingly to take care of. But as a college football fan and as someone who's, just kind of watching what Florida State wants to get done, they're saying, hey, we're not making enough money in the ACC. And we need to compete with the Georgias and the Alabamas and the Michigans, and they're making more money than us, so they have more resources than us. And I'm reading a book right now. It's called It Takes What It Takes by Trevor Moawad. And in the book, he talks about the illusion of choice. Like if I want to be in shape, I don't really have the choice of what do I want to eat. I got to eat healthy. I don't get to have the choice of eating Doritos versus eating like a healthy sandwich. And that's kind of the same thing with Florida State. If you want to compete with the best in the country, you don't have the choice about what kind of resources you want to have. Like the choice is one thing. You got to have the best resources to compete with the best teams. And so that's a longer tangent than you asked for, but I think it would make sense and I'd be excited about it once it got here.
Yeah, and JD, not to take it down an unrelated path, but I love what you just said because it kind of reminds me of like entrepreneurship and building a business. And people say, they try to equate like you make so many sacrifices, this, that. It's like, I think when you're on that path, you don't look at it as a sacrifice. You just look at it as you just do what's necessary. So to your point, like it's not a choice. It's just it's either part of your identity or it's not. So to your point, it's like either being an elite program is part of your identity or it's not. There's no like middle ground, like, it's like, yes or no. There is no gray area, which can be a beautiful thing. So the schedule release show, or really the opponent release show, because I don't think they're going to release this in actual like schedule format with dates, what have you. But we're going to know who each SEC team is playing, where they're playing them at. And it's right now being projected, JD, our good friend Brad Crawford at 24/7 Sports, also JB over at 24/7. I jump on Inside the Gamecocks every Thursday. They are projecting this for South Carolina, which, JD, it's so funny that we can't do anything without making predictions or projections, right? Even if it's a schedule, even if it's opponents, whatever. But this is what's being projected, and it sounds like all intel is pointed the following for South Carolina's 2024 slate. At Alabama, Georgia at home, at Florida, Oklahoma at home, Tennessee at home, at Kentucky, Ole Miss at home, and at Vanderbilt. So we will not have, JD, the opportunity to speak with you until next week. By the way, that also includes Old Dominion, Akron, Wofford, and the Clemson Tigers at their place in the non-conference. So we won't get to speak to you until next week. So your immediate reaction to that, if that's the slate, and what would your message be to Gamecock fans in regards to the ascension or the building of the program? Because, JD, I know exactly where I go. First thing I say, fans have got to be able to exert patience because while it may not be a 9-game SEC schedule, I mean, it's even more of a gauntlet. We talk about this year being a gauntlet. Hey, you're going to add Oklahoma next year and go to Alabama? Like, come on, man. That's crazy. So your immediate reaction to that and then just thoughts on what it means for South Carolina football moving forward if that is the way it plays out.
I think the immediate reaction is it's kind of what you signed up for being in the SEC. And it's a little bit of tongue-in-cheek saying that because some people would say, well, we've been in the SEC and now we're in Oklahoma and we're in Texas. And kind of like we talked about in that one-off video that came out earlier this week, like there's a piece of this for South Carolina where that just ups the importance for 2023 to be seen as a team that's operating from a place of power or authority or whatever kind of adjective you want to throw to it. Just to be South Carolina, be in the upper tier of the SEC, to have, one, the psyche as a team, and two, be in the place to recruit and maybe even go to the transfer portal to get pieces you need. Because like you said, that's going to be a gauntlet that I think is going to require a lot of South Carolina. And whatever they're able to do in 2023 may or may not be good enough for what's required in 2024. Like you would imagine, you won't have Spencer Rattler, probably won't have Juice Wells. And so we're rolling in 2024 with that schedule, probably breaking in a lot of new pieces. Like South Carolina, I think the importance is pretty high on 23 to be able to be a player in the portal and on the recruiting trail, like we talked about already on the show. to be able to add the pieces they need to be able to hit the ground running and what will be the new SEC of sorts, So I think, like you said, patience is going to be key as you kind of get used to whatever the SEC looks like past 2024 and past, whatever schedule you have in the coming seasons. But yeah, I think when I zoom out even more, my thesis is, well, do you trust Shane Beamer? If Shane Beamer is the guy that you trust and you think he's the right guy going forward and you don't think there's somebody else out there that you would want, you kind of got to buy the ticket and take the ride a little bit. And the ride in the SEC is a little bit more ups and downs and a little bit more tumultuous than maybe it would be in, say, the Pac-12 conference. But even so, I mean, you signed up for it, and I think Shane Beamer is the right guy to lead you forward, come highs and lows.
And JD, most importantly to that too, I want to add, I think the long-term ticket when you buy it for Shane Beamer, it needs to be the long-term play. I'll tell you this, man, because I think maybe some of this got lost in the first couple of years because, I mean, they're way ahead of schedule, in my opinion. They're way ahead of where I thought they would be when they hired him. And of course, when you get a guy like a Spencer Rattler, and the transfer portal allows that, right? Like it's not taking 5 or 6 years to rebuild programs anymore. But when I looked at when the Gamecocks hired Beamer in December of 2020, I looked at it as, okay, this is something at minimum 5 years. Like, fans really need to dig in and allow him to build, allow him to recruit, because I think you can go out in the portal right now, you can get quarterbacks and receivers and these, the skill position players, but to build the type of trench depth is still going to take 4 or 5 years to get that level of guys, because those guys don't typically play as freshmen. That's not really a recipe for success in the SEC, to be that young on both sides of the line of scrimmage when you're playing against grown men. And so I just think, to your point, man, I mean, I even said this at this time last year, that as long as South Carolina is, and I'm not trying to bring down the expectations, but like in the first 5 years, as long as they're going to bowl games, they're winning 6 to 8 games a year, you're doing enough to generate and keep, like you mentioned, that momentum. I even go back to Will Muschamp, and that's a dirty word around here nobody wants to talk about. But like, even you look at Will Muschamp's tenure, it's not because he didn't have a 10-win season. It's because they fell off the cliff and won 4 games. That's what threw the program. That's what derailed it, right? There was no stability. So if Beamer's able to find that 6 to 8 win mark, and you and I have talked about the importance of, if you can win 8 this year, setting a new floor. But I just think, moving forward as it gets tougher, if you can sustain, like, hey, we have staying power, we're not going anywhere, we're continuing to build. And again, I think what you said is spot on with the importance of 2023 and capitalizing now, you know what I'm saying, before they get there. I just think fans need to dig in for the long haul. And I don't say all this because I'm trying to bring down expectations or because I think less of Carolina football. I'm honestly, JD, just trying to be fair to Shane Beamer. Like, I just in a world where everybody wants to win right now, when it's year 3 and by year 5, Gamecock fans want to be going to the SEC championship, I just maybe you need to lock in with this guy for a decade. Like maybe it's going to take that long, right? And he's not going anywhere. This isn't Steve Spurrier where by year 10, we're thinking, is he going to retire? Like, Beamer could be here for 30 years, dude. He could be the Frank Beamer of this school. So, again, I just wanted to echo that to your point, JD. I think if people can just dig in, be patient, let him build. I think if nothing else, because I get the question, JD, of, is Shane Beamer going to win a SEC title, a national championship? It's like you're asking if something's going to happen that has never happened in over 100 years. So, like, it's very hard to answer, but I feel confident that Shane Beamer will do everything he can, number one, and put South Carolina in the best position possible they've ever been. Whether they win a title, we'll see. But when his tenure is over, South Carolina football will be in a much, much better position than he found it. People just have to give that time to happen.
And Chris, you said this, I believe, sometime during the fall. It was a snippet I saw on one of your social handles, and I thought it was on the money. Like, comparison is just a thief of joy. Like, if you're a South Carolina fan looking at Tennessee and saying, well, they put it together so quickly. Yeah, well, they got Hendon Hooker from the portal, and they struck gold with Jalen Hyatt, and they had a great system in place. And it's like, that could happen to you too, but you understand there were some things that fell in line for Tennessee that, like, quite frankly, you just kind of need to have fall in line for you. Like, if South Carolina were to add Hendon Hooker a season ago, like, I know you're probably happy with Spencer Rattler being your quarterback based on how that season finished, but I'm just saying, if you were to add a caliber player like a Hendon Hooker, or like someone who can just totally change the complexion of your offense and how many points a game you're scoring, like, that's a very big variable. And so to stack up what Shane Beamer's doing at South Carolina versus another SEC school on the rise like Tennessee, I don't know that it's totally fair to do. So I think what you're saying is absolutely on the money. Enjoy the fact that you got your guy at head coach. I don't think there's anybody better in the country for this job at South Carolina. And I think you ride this one out and let him develop what he's got in-house. And they're recruiting at an elite level. And if they keep recruiting at an elite level and have, those 4 and 5-star numbers where they need to have them, they're going to be in a really good shot for years to come to eventually get over that hump and be at the top of the mountain.
JD, you know as well as I do, man, college football fans, they have Instagram syndrome where truly the comparison is the thief of joy. And instead of looking what they got, they continue to scroll in the feed, look at what everybody else has got, and you lose sight of what you have actually got. So, no, to your point, that is a very, very good point. JD, last thing before I get you out of here, are you a preseason magazine guy? I'm just curious. I don't know if I've ever asked you that. Yeah, for sure. Is it too much putting you on the spot to say which is your favorite? Do you have multiple favorites?
No, not at all. Not at all. So I'll say this too. I'm a little bit more new to the game in terms of picking like which preseason magazine you're going to go with. I've kind of gone all over the place over the last couple of years, kind of found a rhythm with Athlon. But to be real, I'll probably buy Athlon. I'll probably buy Phil Steele. I'll probably even go Dave Campbell's Texas Football to make sure we're locked in Big 12 country in the Lone Star State. I guess for it being the Lone Star, I guess for it being Big 12 country now in the state of Texas, they're going to move to the SEC. So I'll probably go all over the board when I go pick up my magazine. But I've been faithful to Athlon the last 2 years, and they haven't let me down.
Yeah, I've got Athlon sitting in here. Lindy's on the desk. I'll have Phil Steele. Pick six previews, we're all the way around. So you can't get enough, my friend, when you're a college football junkie. JD Pickell on 3 Sports. JD, man, you do a great job. I want to say that. Again, your Gamecock segment was great, but all of the national college football landscape, man, I love to see it. And keep up the great work and truly appreciate you taking the time each and every single Wednesday, my friend.
Chris, appreciate you, man. Love what you do here. Excited to do it again soon, man.
Yeah, man. We'll talk soon. Appreciate you, JD.
Appreciate you, brother.
Great stuff from JD Pickell of On 3 Sports, man. And again, a legendary conversation, truly. And the fact that JD rocks with us, rocks with what we do, truly appreciate him and appreciate his time. And I'll tell you this, guys, it's a blessing when you've got someone like a JD Pickell and all of our guests, by the way, but are able to, JD does college football just from the national landscape. There's not a lot going on right now, but it's truly a testament to the flow and the vibe that we're able to keep conversation rolling and keep conversation entertaining for you all, even in the midst of the offseason. It makes me so excited for, as we get into July and SEC media days and the actual season itself, of course. But it is going to be absolutely electric. And I am so excited to have JD Pickell part of our team, part of our guests, and looking forward to the great work that we do all throughout the college football season. Guys, hey, that being said, the Q&A Power Hour is coming up. I want to hear from you because we got a busy day. A lot is going on. I want to hear your thoughts at 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. Guys, your questions, your comments, your calls, and more as we begin our Q&A Power Hour. On the other side, you're tuned in to the Daily Crow. Attention all Gamecocks seafood lovers. Are you tired of searching for the freshest seafood in town? Look no further than the Carolina Fish Market, your go-to destination for the finest and most flavorful seafood in the Carolinas and beyond. Introducing the new Carolina Seafood Subscription Box, a culinary delight delivered right to your doorstep. Each month, you'll receive a carefully curated selection of fresh local seafood sourced directly from the waters of the Carolinas and beyond. From succulent shrimp to mouth-watering grouper to flounder or tuna and everything in between, their subscription box brings the ocean's bounty straight to your Gamecock kitchen. What sets the Carolina Fish Market apart is their commitment to quality and sustainability. They work closely with local fishermen and women who use responsible fishing practices, ensuring that every bite you take supports both your taste buds and our precious marine ecosystems. They've even won Best Seafood 5 out of the last 8 years. But that's not all. They're offering free shipping to all TSUS listeners on every Carolina Seafood subscription box, making it even easier for you to indulge in the flavors of the coast. Experience the convenience and joy of having fresh seafood delivered right to your door without any of the hassle. Don't miss on this incredible opportunity to elevate your culinary adventures with the Carolina Fish Market's Carolina Seafood Subscription Box. Join the seafood enthusiasts across the nation who are savoring the taste of the Carolinas, one delectable bite at a time, and just in time for Father's Day. Visit their website today at carolinafishmarket.com. That's carolinafishmarket.com, and embark on a seafood journey like no other. Freshness, flavor, and convenience await you. Order your Carolina Seafood Subscription Box now and use the promo code SPURSUP, that's SPURSUP, for $10 off your first purchase. Again, that's promo code SPURSUP, SPURSUP, for $10 off your first purchase. The Carolina Fish Market, where taste meets the ocean.
Muscle Dougie, ho.
All right, guys, we're back here on this Wednesday, June the 14th, 2023. Hope you're all doing well. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in as we get the phone lines set up here. As we get the phone lines, let's make sure we are good. Let's see. All right, we are good to go. 843-790-3377 for everybody who wants to call in. In the meantime, we will check out the YouTube questions here in the chat. Let's see. Ethan says, JD is the man. I agree. Madison Duncan, same thing. JD, thank you so much. Austin Hicks said, where my diehard Gamecock fans at? Indeed. Ethan also said 80 days. Yep, the countdown continues. Ethan, just 80 days until kickoff. Brendan M says, bring on Clem sucks, Georgia, Oklahoma, and Bama too. So Brendan wants all the smoke. Brendan wants all the smoke. I love it. I love it. Todd Smith, what's up, Chris? Is it true that Mark Kingston's interviewing for the head coaching job of Miami? I have seen, Todd, where he is a candidate. I don't know that he's actually getting an interview, but he is indeed a candidate per D1Baseball.com. So what a wild turn of events that would be. Honestly, what a wild turn of events. I mean, truly. So I think Troy Tulowitzki's probably the guy for the job that will get the job. But, I mean, just imagine, dude. Just imagine. Chase Floyd posting the Patreon link. Thank you, Chase. I appreciate that. Travis says, bring back the Fire Ant defense while we're at it. Speaking of the uniforms. Yeah, I hear you. Lynn Turner says, I love the 1984 season. What a great season. Love those unis. But I was not really a fan of the white circle. Lynn Turner says, we won some big games in black uniforms as well. We've done blackouts for games we probably would have lost anyway. Not the black uniforms' fault. That's a good point. Yes, Travie, those all black unis, the glossy black helmets in 04. Oh, should have won that one, my guy. You're right, Travie. Should have won it. Mark says, my favorite helmet's the white helmet with the garnet and black stripes. Indeed. Brandon says, Chris, I think the game at Alabama will remain on our 2024 schedule since we haven't played them since 2000, or haven't played there since 2009. Indeed. I mean, dude, here's the thing, guys. I'll say this, and we don't know what's going on with the schedule yet. We'll have a full reaction tomorrow. I can't wait to give you guys my thoughts on the schedule and have obviously open conversation and banter with you all as we react to it. But I think the way you have to embrace it is this. Bring it on. To be the best, you got to beat the best. And so if you're a true competitor, you love it. You love the fact that the competition's getting even better. You don't like cupcake weekend. You don't like playing teams you're going to beat by 50. Hey, bring it on, man. It only gets tougher, and that's the beauty of it. It'll make winning that much sweeter. I think that's the mentality you have to have. If you're a fan of the Gamecocks, sure, but certainly if you're in that building, right? You embrace competition. You love the opportunity to prove yourself. And so with the addition of Texas and Oklahoma and the schedule and, hey, we got to go play 2 Bama. Hey, whatever. Screw it. Let's go. Line it up. Strap it up. We'll play anywhere, anytime. That's got to be the mentality. Drop yo nuts, as Cam Smith said. Have that drop your nuts mentality. We will drop our nuts on anybody, whoever wants it at any time, any freaking place. That's got to be the mentality moving forward. So, Jeff Gullers, we'll keep it going. He says, I always think of Ryan Brewer every time I see the white garnet white combo. Those are beautiful. Those are beautiful, Jeff. Lynn Turner says, I like the battle armor unis with loyalty, strength, etc. on the back. Instead of names, when we sold the replica shirts, they were the military appreciation unis. Yeah, those were 2009, if I do recall correctly, because Steven Garcia wore those. My guy, Bruin Nation, what's going on? Curtis Scholl said Clemson just got another 5-star. They're beating us in recruiting again. Who did they get? I saw they got a 4-star running back today. I did see that. Brandon says we just got 5 crystal ball picks this morning for running back Matthew Fuller, defensive back Caleb Harris, defensive tackle Nnamdi Agboko, linebacker Fred Johnson, and linebacker David Busey. I wouldn't be surprised either, Brandon, if 2 of those guys are the silent commitments. Brandon pointing out Ethan Petrie named a first-team All-American, Cole Messina second-team All-American. Love to see it. Love to see it. Braddock843 says, when I think of Stormtrooper unis, I think of Dylan Thompson going on the road to take down Clem Sucks and Swearinger flexing. Indeed. Great memories. Great memories. Lynn Turner says Petty had the grit of Connor Shaw with less skill around him. That's a really good point. Yeah, I would say, and they both wore 14, by the way. Quarterbacks who have worn 14 have had a lot of success. Lynn Turner says, my dad had a Tannehill hat. He guaranteed win for the rest of the season when he took over. He won 5 of 6. Justin Martin, 0-5 in 92. Gamecocks wanted Sparky Woods gone, and Steve Tannehill turned things around for sure. Madison, Garcia, and the mullet can never forget. Brandon, yeah, Shaw's first start, 2011 in the opener against ECU. I do recall that as well. That was, I think he fumbled right on the opening drive. What an interesting start to a career. Came in also, recall, in 2010 at Auburn, right? Remember that? He was thrust in there early. Bruin Nation, Shaw was a winner. The Missouri game sealed that. Isn't it funny, Bruin Nation, everybody else, how because you bring up a great point, Bruin Nation. I recall vividly watching the game against Mizzou in 2013. I'll never forget where I was, who I was with, watching the game with a group of folks. And I remember one of the guys was just going on and on and on about put Dylan Thompson in, Thompson, just on and on and on. Like, we forget this because we just think of Connor Shaw, the legend. Like, dude, at one point, people wanted Shaw benched for Dylan Thompson. That was a real thing. And it took that Mizzou game until finally it was like, okay, he's the GOAT. He's the GOAT, right? Like finally that point, he got the benefit of the doubt. I mean, it's crazy, bro. You don't remember that, right? Because it's not part of the great memories. But for those of you who were following along closely back then, that was the reality. Ethan says, when I was at Carolina, I got to witness Garcia, Shaw, and Thompson start at quarterback. Greatest quarterback room ever. Yeah, that's impressive, man. It's incredible. It's incredible. It's a good point here by Travi. A1 was the only one who had a worthy NFL career. Anthony Wright. Yeah, best NFL career by any Gamecock quarterback ever. No doubt. No doubt. John Edward, schedule release tonight to just know who we're playing. So it's just to know who our opponents will be, John Edward. This is not actually like dates and stuff like that. So let's see. Madison said, I just want to thank the BCC boys and girls hanging out in the Discord during the games. What a fun experience. Love the laughter and sarcasm. Yeah, no, it's a blast, Madison. We're glad to have you, and I appreciate you, and it's a lot of fun, man. I truly appreciate it. Madison also says, put an end to rumors. I will not be entering the fan portal. I will return as a Gamecock fan next year. Thank you for putting up with me. Madison, I'm happy to hear it, my friend. Andrew the textbook says, imagine if we lose Mark Kingston. I mean, what's funny about it, Andrew, is like half of the fan base will be ecstatic. I mean, that's the funny part. They'd still be ecstatic. Half of the fan base will still be ecstatic, right? So, I mean, whatever, man. I don't think Mark Kingston's going anywhere, but the fact that he's even entertaining that, right, as being a candidate is it. But, let me say this, by the way. Let me say this. Because one thing that irks me, D1baseball.com. I mean, they just, I don't know what it is about these guys. They never miss an opportunity to take a shot at the Gamecocks fan base. I don't know who hurt Kendall Rogers or Aaron Fitt or Mike Rooney or these guys at D1, and I like all of them. I don't know who hurt these guys, though, because in their write-up, I won't read the whole thing, but they mention Mark Kingston as a candidate, and they say Kingston's name being on the list might be a surprise to some, but he's a former Miami assistant and hasn't exactly been treated the best in Columbia. He could be looking for greener pastures. So they say that, and then you've heard them talk about before, well, the fan base and King's actually a great coach. What's up with the fan base? Then when Chad Holbrook was fired, the fan base. They're always coming at the fans. Mark Kingston hasn't been treated the best. Bro, miss me with that. Miss me with that. Mark Kingston has been treated exactly the way his record says he should have been treated. Yeah, you go below 500 first time in school history, first time since the late 90s. Bro, I don't care what the excuse is, the situation is. Bro, Mark Kingston deserved every bit of heat he got last year. Every bit of it. There was nothing over the top. There was nothing outrageous. It was just a passionate fan base that has great history and tradition demanding more. That's it. That's all it was. When he missed the postseason in 2019, the same thing applies. I don't think Mark Kingston's been treated they make it sound like people are egging this dude's house. And come on, man. I don't understand why D1 baseball has this obsession with attacking the Gamecock fan base. I just don't get it. Why? What happened? I don't know if maybe Gamecock burners filled Kendall Rogers, mentions or what has happened. I don't know what it is. Or maybe they're Clemson fans. I don't know. I don't know, but like it's insane, dude. And it's just there's no reason for it. Like, why? Let me ask you this: why does D1 baseball? I would ask D1 baseball this: D1 baseball. Why is it that every take you have about Carolina, you cannot help but throw a slight into the fan base? Every take about predictions, projections, coaches, there's always a slight at Carolina fans. Why? There's always a slight at the expectations. Why? I like Chad Holbrook, and you know what? Maybe he should have got an extra couple of years. Hey, he's a friend of the show. I like Chad a lot. But he'll tell you, man, you miss the postseason 2 out of 3 years, you're gone. Mark Kingston, you go below 500 for the first time since the late 90s, you're going to catch all the heat you deserve. And it's exactly what he got. It wasn't unfair. It wasn't unfair treatment. Miss me with this. Carolina fans have been so brutal to Mark Kingston. Like, give me a freaking break, dude. D1 baseball, find a new angle because it's worn out and it's bullshit more than anything. I don't get it, dude. Like, I just do not get it. I don't know what D1's baseball deal is, man. I just don't know what their deal is. I really don't. I don't know who hurt D1 baseball. Anyways, whatever. Guys, 843-790-3377. That is 843-790-3377 here on this Wednesday, June 14th. Let's see. John Eber wants to point out, I never wanted Connor Shaw benched back then, back in 2014. Good to know, John Eber. Good to know. Good to know. Let's see. Austin Gregory says, JD's an absolute legend. Wouldn't be surprised to see him calling games or in a booth at some point down the road. Yeah, JD's a legend, man. I mean, that dude, there is no limit on how far his career can go. He's incredible. Will Hall says, JD was throwing out strong Stone Cold Steve Austin vibes before he shaved his head. Great interview. Love that. I'll have to mention that, Will, next week when he comes on. Stone Cold Steve Austin vibes. That's incredible. Guys, in case you missed the news this morning, South Carolina's athletic programs generated $142,210,807 in revenue last year per USA Today. Gamecocks ranked 27th overall. Gamecocks ranked 27th overall. Let's see. I know On3 posted. I want to get the full list here. Just give you guys an idea where South Carolina sits. Okay. Revenue. Here we go. Okay. Other SEC schools, Alabama, they generated $214 million in revenue in these are 2022 figures. Georgia, $203 million. LSU, $199 million. A&M, $193 million. Florida, $190 million. Auburn, $174 million. Kentucky, $159 million. How in the world is Kentucky making more money than Carolina? Clemson, $158 million. So Clemson is $14 million richer than Carolina. Tennessee, $154 million, which is crazy to me. Clemson made more money than Tennessee. That is wild. Arkansas, $152 million. Let's see. And then there's Carolina, $142 million. Mizzou at $141 million. Ole Miss, $133 million. Keep going down the list. Mississippi State, $110 million. Okay, so Vandy's not reported. Vandy's not because they're private. Who's dead last? Let's see. New Orleans made $2 million. They're the last. UNC Asheville made $8 million. You can look at South Carolina State made $13 million. But yeah, it's crazy, man. The arms race it is. College athletics, it's just wild. It's just wild. Angel the textbook says basketball is why Kentucky is making more money. I mean, for sure. NCAA tournaments and stuff like that, and just overall draw for basketball. But we had somebody tweet at us and say they did a project back in 2018 on South Carolina athletics revenue. Only Gamecocks football and men's basketball were profitable. And the basketball team was very, very minimal. Every other sport was a net loss. Isn't that crazy to think about? Even baseball is a net loss. And, that was 2018 numbers. Maybe in the last 5 years it's gotten better. Who knows? But even if baseball is just at zero, like the fact baseball does not create revenue, that is wild when you think about it. It's wild. It's just absolutely wild. Brian Dean, Chris, why do you think it's been hard to get a good quality running back in the transfer portal? Brian, I simply put, I don't know. I don't know, Brian. Do you blame, I don't think you can blame playing time opportunities. Do you blame NIL? Do you blame just that the right fit hasn't been out there? Do you blame, do you blame Monterio Hardesty? I know he's not a very popular man right now amongst Gamecock Nation, and I don't necessarily blame you. What do you blame? But I don't know. I genuinely do not know. And, you can listen, you could say whatever you want, man. You could say whatever you want about, all we got is all we need, and that's great. Man, South Carolina really could have used another running back. They really, guys, could have used another running back. I think there's going to be moments, if they roll into the season with who they have, listen, I think there's going to be moments that, I don't know, man, like Dak Joyner flashes or Juju flashes or Mario Anderson flash, but like on a week in, week out basis, consistency, like I don't know. Maybe Dontavius Braswell steps up, but like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the plan is when it comes to the running back position. I really don't. Yeah, Brian, we talked about this last week. Lindy's being high on South Carolina. I think they're higher than anybody on the Gamecocks. They're higher than anybody on the Gamecocks. So, yeah, Lynn Turner, this is a great point. Football is the only moneymaker. Without football, there'd be no other sports. No doubt. Football is king. Football is king, Lynn. There's no question. Football is king. Absolutely. Yeah, football is king. Let's see. Austin Moore, how do you feel about defense? Think we'll stop the run a little bit better than last year? Austin, I hope so, my friend. I hope so. Here we go. Let's jump to the phone lines here.
From Dalton.
Dalton, what's going on, my friend? How are you?
Hey, man. How's it going on this Wednesday?
I'm doing fantastic, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good myself. I saw your segment about your favorite uniforms this morning, and I was wondering, I just wanted to run it by you. Why don't you support, doing the Oregon thing of having like weird uniform combinations like the neon and all that kind of stuff? Because I think it's pretty cool.
Well, I'll tell you this.
Like
I was just going to say this, Dalton. I think for South Carolina, I think you've got to pick. Are you going to go more traditional, or are you going to go more kind of off the wall? So, like, I don't really even hate the whole like what you're saying, I don't hate going that direction of like the Oregon, like what they have. But I think you just got to make the decision. I feel like we're kind of stuck in the middle of trying to be traditional and also like really cutting edge with unis, right? Like I would say just pick one way or the other. So I'm not like totally against it. I'm probably more of a traditional guy. But if we wanted to say, you know what, our uniforms are going to be like the craziest in the SEC, like, Mizzou does that well. They're all over the place. Kentucky does that well, right? They're very all over the place with uni. So like if we want to do that, I guess that's fine. I mean, I'm more of a traditionalist kind of guy, but I don't totally hate it, I guess.
Well, I mean, my thing about it is like if you want to talk about like history, tradition, and all that with the uniforms, it's like, for the past whatever 100 years or so, like there's only really been like a couple 10-year stretches where we've been like really good. We don't have like history like Bama has history, like Notre Dame, like, Georgia. So leaning into we're traditional. This is what we do. This is why we're good type stuff. It doesn't really work for me. I'd rather just go, let's find like cool designs that are off the wall and wacky and, run that out there. That's why I like the tail feather helmets. I think that those are cool.
Well, Dalton, even if we went wacky with unis, I don't know, man. The tail feather helmets would have to we'd have to at least switch up the colors or something, man. I don't know. I don't know if I can get behind the tail feather helmets, but I mean, whatever. I mean, it's maybe Beamer doesn't care about unis. By the way, maybe we're just kind of wasting our breath. Again, it is June 14th though, but I've been kind of surprised we haven't done anything with the unis, like changing up anything. It's been kind of surprising.
That I don't think Beamer's a uniform guy. I think, he said in interviews before that he lets the players choose the uniforms, which makes sense. So, I mean, I really think he doesn't really like care about putting his stamp on the uniforms to that degree, which is fine. I mean, every coach has their thing. So we'll see what we do with the uniforms, but I just wanted to throw that out there and add to the uniform conversation because I think the neon uniforms that Oregon has are really cool. And it's sort of built their brand as like the cool place to be. I think if Beamer did something similar, because you're not really going to sell South Carolina from a recruiting standpoint as like, this elite program that has all these national titles and all these Heisman, trophy winners. Like you're gonna sell it by, saying, hey, we're the cool place to be type deal. So I don't know. I think it could work.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see it, Dalton. If nothing else, I'd love to see it. I just want to see them again. Pick which way do you want to go? More traditional route, more futuristic route. So, like you mentioned, though, I don't know that Beamer's much of a uniform guy either. So,
but yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there, and I appreciate you taking my call.
Dalton, you're the man. I appreciate it. Great stuff as always, my friend Dalton. Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't know that Beamer, like I said, is much of a uni guy. So, I don't know that he is. Our guy Dave Garrick asked a question: will the schedule show be in BCC? Yes, Dave, that is the plan. Yes, it will be. Let's see. Ruby Nation, want a standard traditional all white of the road, white garnet home. I will say this: the guarantee is this: we will never all agree on the uniforms. Well, it's impossible. We'll never all agree on the unis. Austin Hicks, where do you get preseason magazines at, Chris? Publix is a great place to go, my friend. Publix is a great place to go. Let's see. Dave Garrick, schedule prediction. Bama, LSU, Ole Miss. Texas, OU, Georgia, Florida, Mizzou. Okay. Austin Moore. It's all about uniforms for this dude. My God. Well, Austin, the topic today was just the unis, my guys. I mean, I don't know. I guess if you hate uniform talk, today is probably not a great show to tune into. Tomorrow, we'll get off uniforms and back into, we'll talk top 5. I think, receivers in school history. Also, of course, we're going to react to everything from the schedule or the opponent release show tonight. But, I mean, Austin, listen, man, it's the middle of June, my guy. Like, it's the peak of the offseason, my dude. It is truly like peak offseason mode right now. So there's not exactly a bunch of breaking news going on. And I do love talking unis, my guy. I do. Unapologetically love talking about uniforms. Walmart has the magazines as well. Yes, yes. GA, what's up, my friend? Appreciate you tuning in. What's going on? What's going on? Brad Crawford tweeting out, South Carolina's 2024 SEC schedule will be more balanced than you think, with a wink face. Okay. Interesting. Brad's always playing with people on Twitter. Loves it. He loves it. He loves it. ESPN College Football just tweeted out, for just the 5th time in the past 20 years, Bama and Georgia will meet during the regular season. Sources told ESPN. How about it? Georgia, Bama in 2024. That'll be a great game. Go ahead and mark that one on the college game day docket. That is for sure. Dude, that might get game day literally right now. Like, before even the 2023 season gets going. Georgia, Bama. Yeah. Brian Dean, yes, we did pick up the lefty from Liberty. What was his name? Garrett, let's see, what was his name again? Garrett Gainey. Garrett Gainey. And again, folks, he got, I mean, I tell you this, I feel for Garrett Gainey because he got lit up on social media, dude. I mean, he got we posted his ERA. I mean, it's his stats, like whatever. It is what it is. But my goodness, he got wrecked. He got wrecked on social media. Straight up. So. Austin Moore says, yeah, no, just you're good, my guy. You're good. He says, I just say all black, all white, or all garnet. White helmets. I like it. I actually like it. Not opposed to it. Brian Dean, game day should be at UNC versus USC, Rattler versus May. Dude, I think they should as well. I think it's a great game. I think it's a great opportunity for game day to get there. I mean, why not? Why not? I think college game day from that location would be incredible. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Madison, need a top 5 Gamecock fight songs. That'd be an interesting poll. Would there be, I mean, the fight song would be in the top 5, but I'm assuming you mean just like any song played at a USC football game, correct? I mean, I would assume that's what you mean. Interesting. Guys, let's go ahead and jump into another quick break. On the other side, I want to continue to hear from you, more of your questions, your comments, your calls, and more. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. Attention all Gamecock seafood lovers. Are you tired of searching for the freshest seafood in town? Look no further than the Carolina Fish Market, your go-to destination for the finest and most flavorful seafood in the Carolinas and beyond. Introducing the new Carolina Seafood Subscription Box, a culinary delight delivered right to your doorstep. Each month, you'll receive a carefully curated selection of fresh local seafood sourced directly from the waters of the Carolinas and beyond. From succulent shrimp to mouth-watering grouper to flounder or tuna and everything in between, their subscription box brings the ocean's bounty straight to your Gamecock kitchen. What sets the Carolina Fish Market apart is their commitment to quality and sustainability. They work closely with local fishermen and women who use responsible fishing practices, ensuring that every bite you take supports both your taste buds and our precious marine ecosystems. They've even won Best Seafood 5 out of the last 8 years. But that's not all. they're offering free shipping to all TSUS listeners on every Carolina seafood subscription box, making it even easier for you to indulge in the flavors of the coast. Experience the convenience and joy of having fresh seafood delivered right to your door without any of the hassle. Don't miss on this incredible opportunity to elevate your culinary adventures with the Carolina Fish Market's Carolina Seafood Subscription Box. Join the seafood enthusiasts across the nation who are savoring the taste of the Carolinas, one delectable bite at a time, and just in time for Father's Day. Visit their website today at carolinafishmarket.com. That's carolinafishmarket.com, and embark on a seafood journey like no other. Freshness, flavor, and convenience await you. Order your Carolina Seafood subscription box now and use the promo code SPURSUP, that's SPURSUP, for $10 off your first purchase. Again, that's promo code SPURSUP, SPURSUP, for $10 off your first purchase. The Carolina Fish Market, where taste meets the ocean.
Muscle Dougie, ho.
All right, guys, I'm back here on this Wednesday, June the 14th, 2023. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. In case you missed the big news at the top of the show, our plans for content. Guys, we're really, really excited. Of course, as I mentioned to you, because of the way that we are producing content now, right? And the way that the structure of TDC, the podcast, all of that good stuff. Because of that, I'm making some adjustments to the content schedule, right? To make sure that content continues to bleed out of the eyeballs and that we drive value to each and every single one of you. So what I'm really excited to, in case you missed this, and announce is that we will continue our off-season content with our top 5 lists, right? You know, tomorrow we'll react to the schedule. We'll also talk top 5 playmakers in school history. Then on Friday, we'll talk top 5 running backs, receivers, O-line. Monday, we'll do tight ends, D-ends, D-tackles. Tuesday, we'll do linebackers, cornerbacks, and safeties, right? And that will conclude our top 5 series. And of course, if breaking news comes up or things that we need to discuss, we can move things around. But I'm really excited, again, in case you missed this, to announce that we do these opponent previews, the opponent preview series, if you will, where we talk each and every single team that South Carolina plays over the course of the 2023 and each and every single season, right? We've been doing this for quite a while. It's actually evolved. It's kind of funny. It started out as articles, right? Where I just write out the article, who, what, when, where, little excerpt about the team, the coach, what have you, and the outlook of the game. Then last year, and I think even 2 years ago, either way, it evolved from articles to we brought that to the podcast, right? Because, hey, during the summer, we need things to talk about, keep the content rolling, brought it to the podcast. Now we're bringing it to continuing with the podcast, but also integrating into TDC. So we'll do the opponent preview series that actually begins the week of July 17th, right? That Monday. We will start and we'll talk about the North Carolina Tar Heels, and we'll go all the way through. Of course, SEC Media Days is that week as well. So we'll go through beginning that Monday, July the 17th. The opponent preview series runs up until August the 9th, believe it or not. Hey, by that point, fall camp started. The football season is right around the corner. But I figured in this final 2 weeks of June, if you will, first week of July, we got some time. We're talking about the 12 teams and the 8 SEC teams South Carolina's playing. What about the other 7 SEC teams that the Gamecocks do not play? So we will be diving into SEC team previews, because that's basically what the opponent preview serves as. But we'll be diving into SEC team previews, having a representative from every school. We already got my dude over at AYS Sports for LSU. I got some folks in the pipeline for Arkansas, for Auburn, Ole Miss, all the above, Texas, right? Because we're going to include Texas and Oklahoma in this. Beginning next Wednesday, we'll talk about the other 7 schools, do some SEC team previews. And it's never too early, guys, of course, to talk college football, talk with those folks. Really, really excited for that. So you can get an idea of just what everybody is featuring going into the 2023 season. And again, I love Gamecocks football, but I also love college football, and I love SEC football, and I cannot wait to have these conversations and talk with these guys and get sort of an idea on what these teams are going to be going into the 2023 season. So really, really excited. Really, really excited. Going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, Hayden, I understand what you're saying, but I'm going to add Oklahoma and Texas in these previews because I'm kind of operating as if they already are part of the SEC. Let's see. Is there another portal window, guys? Not exactly sure. I would say this, though. I think, I'll tell you this. I think Beamer and company are set on the running back position. I think they're good. I mean, I know J.C. Sherbert, he mentioned it before, that there really wasn't, maybe there wasn't a guy out there. I mean, obviously they went after the Diggs kid who went to LSU. There really wasn't another guy they felt like they wanted to add. I think they're kind of content, man. I think they're content at the running back position. I really do. I think they are content with what they have at running back. Whether you agree with that, you disagree, whatever, but I think they're content, man. Anyways, guys, appreciate you all tuning in. Questions, comments, calls, 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. Here on this Wednesday. Hump Day. Happy Hump Day to you all. Guys, I also want to say we have made a significant investment in the merchandise side of the business. I'm very excited to kind of show you all what we're working on. I mean, it is incredible. I am so fired up. I am so excited. So excited to get this thing rolling, man. I'm so excited to get this thing rolling. Anyways, guys, 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377 here on this Wednesday. I appreciate each and every single one of you, man. Like I said, the moves we're making in the merchandise space are just, I mean, it is going to enhance the merch. Incredible. I mean, it's going to be, you guys are not going to recognize the store. Let me just say that. You guys are not going to recognize it. It's going to be awesome. So, Lynn Turner, I'm going to trust Beamer. I'm happy he's not just taking warm bodies. I mean, Lynn Turner, you have to trust Beamer, right? You have to trust him. He's your head football coach. You don't have much of a choice. I trust him, but I'm very suspect of the Gamecocks running back position. I really am. So. Lynn Turner needs some ladies cut shirts. Yeah, Lynn, I know it. Listen, I know it. We're working on everything. I promise. We are working on it. And if there's anybody who can help me with that, it's these guys. So, yes, we are working on it. So let me get the relaunch up and running, and we'll go from there. But we should be able to do it because these guys I'm working with, they actually print women's merchandise. So I'm sure we can find a ladies cut shirt, that will satisfy you. So Austin Gregory says, I'm 10 times as worried about the offensive line as I am the running back room. With no line, there's no running or passing. No, for sure, Austin. I mean, that makes sense. Austin, I think your concerns make sense because if you have an elite offensive line, I mean, it's somebody will produce, right? If you don't have a good offensive line, though, it doesn't matter. Just flat out doesn't matter. So I don't disagree with you. I'm concerned with the O-line as well. I'm concerned with the offensive line as well. So. Let's see. Will Hall, do you think it'll be easier to get a future playoff bid in football with the expansion of the playoffs or harder with the potential much more difficult SEC slate? Definitely easier, Will, with an expanded playoff. Yes, definitely easier. And again, I tell you this, and I know like our guy Brendan M., for example, he's just totally against it. I don't know how you can, as a Gamecock fan, be opposed to expansion. I just simply do not know how. Even if you're trying to remove your fandom and you think for college football it's bad, like if you are a fan of the University of South Carolina's football program, how can you not want expansion? I simply don't understand it because if it stays at 4, or if it stays, let's say, at a BCS model, like some people want to go back to that. But guys, if it stays at 4, South Carolina is never going to the playoff. They're never going to make it. I will go on record and say that right now. They're never going to make it. A 12-team playoff, it gives you a chance. It gives you a shot because you know what? You can go 10-2 and you can make it. A 4-team playoff, or God forbid the old BCS model, South Carolina football does not have a chance. They don't even have a shot. So I don't know how you can be a Gamecock fan and not want to expand the playoff. I just don't get it. I don't get it. Well, Brendan M., he says, I don't know as a Gamecock fan. That's just it, Chris. I'm not speaking as a Gamecock fan. I mean, again, Brendan, then Brendan, you're speaking as a college football fan who does not mind never seeing South Carolina in the playoff. Fair enough, but that's what you're saying. That is what you're saying. So, Brendan, to Brendan's point then, or Brendan M. is saying he doesn't care if a team like South Carolina gets in the playoff. Not only that, he doesn't want to see a team like South Carolina, who went 10-2 in the SEC, get in the playoff. He wants to see the 4 undefeateds square off in the playoff. That's what it sounds like to me. That's what it sounds like to me. Austin Hicks says, will there be golf polos? So not Brendan. Austin, we are starting with our top selling items when we do our relaunch. So I don't know that golf polos will actually be included in that, but if there's a demand for it, then we will include those as well. I mean, I think certainly adding those to the store would be a benefit. I know people like those. I think definitely ahead of football season as well, having the golf polos. That's something I'll talk to my guys about today, actually, Austin. I'm glad you bring that up. You know, we were focused more on the hats, the T-shirts, like really truly the top selling items to start the relaunch with, because we're shrinking down the number of products we offer and really just focusing on our top items, our most important items, I would say. So, Austin Gregory says it's going to be so nice when the day comes that we don't have to sound like a broken record about our O-line in a couple of years. Yeah, I feel like every year we talk about it. Brendan says Chris is attacking me. I'm not even able to defend myself. I mean, Brendan, I'm not really attacking you. I'm just making the point to everybody that, I mean, I don't know, man. The expanded playoff, it gives you a chance. That's as a Gamecock fan, that's why I like it. Let's jump to the phone lines here.
Call from
Peyton.
Peyton, what's up, man? How are you?
Good, Chris. What's going on?
Dude, not much, man. Just hanging out. What's up?
So, calling in today to reminisce a little bit. I'm sitting here thinking, when you think South Carolina football, is there any particular game or play that is an immediate memory when you think South Carolina football?
When I think South Carolina football, just as a whole, I mean, I think 2010 Carolina Bama is like, that is the game. That is the game.
Yeah. For me, it's 2012 Georgia, 35-7. It's forever ingrained in my mind as one of the best nights as a Carolina fan I've ever had. What about plays? Is there any particular singular play? I mean, I know there's one that sticks out like a sore thumb, obviously. Outback Bowl, Michigan, Clowney.
Yeah, if it's not that one, I would say the trick play, Pharaoh Cooper to Brandon Wilds in the 2013 Clemson game to put the final nail in the coffin. That's one of my favorite plays of all time, I would say. So, yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, I'll let you get back to it. Always appreciate you answering the call, man. Go Cox, Spurs Up Show, man. Thanks.
Peyton, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for the call.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Take care. Great stuff from Peyton. Love that. Austin Hicks, maybe I could design a golf polo for you. Hey, be my guest, my friend. I'd love to see it. Again, we sold the polos, the Beamer ball and some of the others, and yeah, I think we could run those back pretty easy. I think I don't see any issue or any reason why we couldn't run those back. So let's see. Chris Miller, I think the 12-team playoff is going to make the SEC championship not as big a goal for the Gamecocks. Making the playoff will be the new goal. Yeah, Chris, I mean, I 110% agree with you. Because making the playoff is going to be easier. As an SEC team, you could probably even go 9-3 and make the expanded playoff some years. I mean, dude, seriously, though. Probably, yes. It probably could happen. Let's see. Madison, hope work goes well, my friend. Hope it flies by. Hayden Yu says O-line does have promise in a few years, though, with Marquis Anderson, Tree, Trovon Bow, etc. No, you're right, Hayden. That's the reason they're recruiting that way. Absolutely. Shane Beamer knows you got to win in the trenches, man. That's where it begins and ends, and you've got to find a way to win in the trenches for sure. For sure. Let's see. John Edward. Random question. Do you prefer the beach or the mountains? On my mind right now because I'll be in the mountains this weekend. John Edward, believe it or not, this is a hot topic of conversation that I've had in my personal life. Which do I prefer more, the beach or the mountains? I love the beach, bro. I grew up going to the beach with my family, going to Hilton Head specifically, going down to Florida. Love the beach. Love the beach. Love going to Hilton Head, doing the stuff with Carolina Cigars and playing golf and like just going down there. I will say this, though. We also, growing up, went to the mountains. And I've grown to love the mountains so much because of it's, you know, you go to the beach, there's some hustle and bustle and what have you. Like when you're in the mountains, man, it's stillness, it's peace, it's serenity, it's quiet. I mean, I remember last year, man. I mean, you guys recall, right? God, that'd be, speaking of top 5 lists, right? Speaking of top 5 lists, we could literally do like a top 5 craziest moments in TSUS history. Top 5 moments where shit hit the fan, right? Because you all recall last year the DeCarrion Joyner stuff. Need I say more? I think everybody recalls that, the tweet I sent, whatever. And I'm talking about, dude, like, we've seen social media act up and Twitter get crazy. Bro, I mean, I don't think there's been that week from that Sunday when I sent that DeCarrion Joyner tweet all the way until that Saturday against Georgia. And then, of course, on Thursday morning was when Justin King basically told TSUS to F off. I think he deleted the tweet, but told TSUS to F off, basically. Like, that week was insane, right? That week was crazy. There has never been a crazier week, I don't think. I mean, that was like people literally like sending me emails, threatening me, like all kinds of shit. Trying to contact my business partners, like all kinds of crazy shit. And I went to the mountains the week of the SC State game. Right after the Charlotte game, went to the mountains. And it was just so nice, guys, to be able to get away and detach and just, God, shut it off. I mean, really, truly, like we still did the show and everything, but it was just so nice to like slow down, get into nature, you know, go on hikes and like not have service. And I mean, dude, I loved that. Like I was like, I could stay here for a month. I mean, literally, man. I love what I do, but it's so nice because you can get so lost and caught up in the craziness and the chaos, and you're reading all this nonsense on social media. And it's so nice to like immerse yourself back into the real world and be like, this is real life. Like, this is the stuff that matters. So I love the mountains too for that reason. I would say this, John, but I'm not trying to take a cop out. I love both. Because I think they're two very different things. And you can't really compare them fairly, in my opinion. Like, if you got to appreciate the beauty of each for what they provide. So maybe that's a cop-out answer, but that's the answer I'm going with. Guys, we're going to jump into one final break. On the other side, I want to continue to hear from you. More your questions, comments, calls, more. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. Attention all Gamecocks seafood lovers. Are you tired of searching for the freshest seafood in town? Look no further than the Carolina Fish Market, your go-to destination for the finest and most flavorful seafood in the Carolinas and beyond. Introducing the new Carolina Seafood Subscription Box, a culinary delight delivered right to your doorstep. Each month, you'll receive a carefully curated selection of fresh local seafood sourced directly from the waters of the Carolinas and beyond. From succulent shrimp to mouth-watering grouper to flounder or tuna and everything in between, their subscription box brings the ocean's bounty straight to your Gamecock kitchen. What sets the Carolina Fish Market apart is their commitment to quality and sustainability. They work closely with local fishermen and women who use responsible fishing practices, ensuring that every bite you take supports both your taste buds and our precious marine ecosystems. They've even won Best Seafood 5 out of the last 8 years. But that's not all. They're offering free shipping to all TSUS listeners on every Carolina Seafood subscription box, making it even easier for you to indulge in the flavors of the coast. Experience the convenience and joy of having fresh seafood delivered right to your door without any of the hassle. Don't miss on this incredible opportunity to elevate your culinary adventures with the Carolina Fish Market's Carolina Seafood subscription box. Join the seafood enthusiasts across the nation who are savoring the taste of the Carolinas, one delectable bite at a time, and just in time for Father's Day. Visit their website today at carolinafishmarket.com. That's carolinafishmarket.com, and embark on a seafood journey like no other. Freshness, flavor, and convenience await you. Order your Carolina Seafood subscription box now and use the promo code SPURSUP, that's SPURSUP, for $10 off your first purchase. Again, that's promo code SPURSUP, SPURSUP, for $10 off your first purchase. The Carolina Fish Market, where taste meets the ocean.
Marshall Dougie, ho.
All right, guys, we're back here on this Wednesday, final 14 minutes or so here in the Daily Crow, taking your questions, your comments, your calls as well. 843-790-3377. So, Austin Gregory, our newest member of the Big Cock Club, has asked me, Chris, what in the world was the Carry-On Joiner tweet? What was the Carry-On Joiner stuff? Allow me to explain exactly what happened. So, first couple of weeks of the 2022 season, against both Georgia State, Arkansas, what have you. DeCarrion Joyner did not see the field, right? Did not see the field. And people were asking me on a daily basis, like, where's DK? Where's DK? Where's DeCarrion Joyner? Because, right, we're coming off of the Duke's Mayo Bowl. So, like, everybody's expecting that he's going to be on the field a lot, get the ball. He didn't touch the ball for the first 2 weeks. And so, finally, the Sunday after the Arkansas game, I'm sitting there, dude, I've got like 5 replies. 5 replies, just like, where is he at? And so, I finally was like, I'm going to give you a real answer of, outside of the coach BS of, we're trying to get the ball to different people and, he's part of our plan. And like, that was the coach speak type stuff. So I said, I'm going to tell you why DeCarrion Joyner's not getting the football. So that Sunday after the Arkansas game, I quote tweeted someone and said, DeCarrion Joyner is a positionless athlete. And I went on to further explain that, he's a quality receiver. He's a good wide receiver. He's a good quarterback, but he's not great at any one thing. So it's like he doesn't really have a true position, right? And it's not his fault because he came in as a QB. He was switched to receiver. He switched back to QB, back and forth, back and forth. He's never been able to like really develop a skill set truly at one position. So he's not an elite receiver. He's not an elite quarterback. He's not really elite in any one thing. Great. He's a great athlete, but he's not elite at any one thing. Okay? Which you hearing me say that and explaining that, Austin, you can tell me if I'm way off base or what have you. I think that's still a fair take. And we'll see what he's like at running back, but I'd still say to DeCarrion Joyner, he's got ways he can beat you at quarterback, receiver, running back, special teams. He's an athlete. Flat out, he's an athlete. But I wouldn't label him as a true wide receiver. I wouldn't label him as a true running back. I wouldn't label him even as a true quarterback, right? And so I said that. I just gave my 2 cents on where DeCarrion Joyner was. No malicious intent behind it. Nothing. Just giving an honest opinion, honest take of where DeCarrion Joyner was and why he was not touching the football, right? I think I even went on to say that there's a lot of other athletes and weapons out there. There's one football, and, Dak Joyner just doesn't, he does not have that one spot where, like, okay, he's our go-to receiver. Like, he just doesn't have a true position. And listen, I understand doing this, what I've learned too, but you already know, like, people's sensitivity and the emotions are heightened. I mean, it's one of the reasons why our content, it does well throughout the year, but it does really well in football, right? Like, everything is going crazy during football season, right? Because the emotions are high, the energy, emotion of all the games, results, whatever. Dude, you would have literally thought I said that DeCarrion Joyner was scum of the earth, didn't deserve a scholarship, was a terrible person. Like, you would have really thought like I attacked DeCarrion Joyner. I mean, people went ballistic, dude. People went ballistic. Right? So that was it. That was the DeCarrion Joyner saga. And DeCarrion Joyner himself retweeted it. Oh, yeah, Austin, how did that result in a tweet from Justin King? So, yeah, that's funny, too. So, of course, that's the week of the Georgia game. That whole week was a mess, dude. That's the week of the Georgia game. And, things are obviously insane on Monday, insane on Tuesday. They're slowing down on Wednesday finally, because this is the way Twitter works, Austin. Like, 24 to 48 hours, people move on to something else to get pissed off about. Like, they just keep it moving, right? So Wednesday, things are finally slowing down. And I'm talking about like Monday, Tuesday, bro. We had people in the chat. I had people reaching out to Carolina Ale House. I had people reaching out to Todd and Moore and Palmetto Moon, where our merchandise is. Like, I had people in my email, like my DMs, like saying the most horrific shit you could possibly think of to say to another human. I mean, it was wild. It was wild. Anyways, Wednesday, it finally starts to slow down, right? It's like, okay, we're just talking ball. Because I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to dwell on it. I was like, I said my piece on everything. Like, I just gave an opinion. I know where I was coming from. Like, I'm not attached to the outcome, not attached to the end result. I'm not attached to how you feel about it, good, bad, or indifferent. I'm a creator. I create, and that's what I do. So end of Wednesday, it's slowing down. Okay, we're good now. Okay. And on Wednesday night, Austin, it's the week of the Georgia game. And South Carolina was playing Georgia at home at noon for the first time since 2010. So I thought, why not post a fun hype video, right? Like, we're huge underdogs. And so I go to YouTube, and Justin King in the past, right? You might recall his video career, videographer career, whatever. He has these videos on YouTube. So I clip like a minute of it. I clip about a minute of it from his Georgia video in 2010. And I post that. I say, the last time that the dogs came to Willie B at noon, Gamecocks won. Could we see the same thing? And I said, video via @Justin King. And he replied. So I post that Wednesday night, really thinking nothing of it. My friend Austin, I wake up Thursday morning. The Big Cock Club Discord is in a frenzy. I go check social media. Social media is in a frenzy, right? Because Justin King has gone out of his way to reply to that tweet and say, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't have the tweet in front of me, basically saying, do not tag me in this tweet. I want nothing to do, I don't want anyone to think I have anything to do with TSUS. Don't want anyone to think I have anything to do with this account. Translation, F you. That's really what it was. And that's out there publicly for everybody to see. He didn't DM me that. That is a public reply to the tweet. And it was extremely disappointing. I mean, it really, truly, guys, looking back, if I continue to speak on it, it was disappointing as hell. Because you know what? Even if you're Justin King and you hate my guts, I mean, that dude, here's the thing. People just found out that Justin King hated me from that tweet. Justin King has hated me for a long time, guys. I mean, this goes back to 2019 when I called for Will Muschamp's job. He has despised me since then. I mean, I recall going to Willie B in 2020 in the preseason, because I used to live in Columbia, obviously, going over to Willie B, hanging out, just like I rode my bike over there or something. I'm sitting outside of the gate, like kind of looking through the team scrimmaging. And he and his band of folks were taking pictures of me. I didn't know it. Taking pictures of me while I'm standing out there watching the game. And Justin King is talking shit to me, saying, like, how's it feel, basically, that you're on the outside and you can't get in? Like, Justin King has despised me for years. I just haven't brought it up. But finally, he made it public, which was a childish move. Because here's the thing. It's the week of Carolina, Georgia. We're like a 28-point underdog. We're all just trying to focus on the game and talking ball. And Georgia fans are looking at us like, bro, they are literally fighting within their own fan base. Like they are this level of dysfunction. You know what I mean? So anyways, it happened. And I didn't get into this. I didn't start this for Justin King to like me. I don't give a damn, dude. I don't give a damn if Justin King likes me, hates me, whatever. I mean, that's the thing that I think people get it twisted a bit. And that's what a lot of these other content creators out there, not that, I mean, I'm in competition with no one but myself as a creator. But as a creator, the goal and the obligation is to create the content that I want to create to the best of my ability. Okay. And what comes on my heart and what I feel is sticking true to my beliefs and how I feel on things, and being authentic and genuine, and also driving value for the end consumer. But I'm in competition with no one but myself. And the goal and objective in what I do every single day is do my absolute best and create the absolute best content possible. What I'm not attached to is the end result and the way that the outcome of it and the way that it's perceived by folks, or that it's taken by folks, or how they feel. So I'm not sitting here, never in my career have I sat here and woken up and say, let me create a show. Let me create content that they will like. They can be the fan base. They can be a certain fan. They can be Justin King. They can be the head football coach. They can be those within the building. I don't do that. I march to the beat of my own drum. I create the content that I want to create and that I like, and I speak my truth. And how that's why I'm able to lay my head on my pillow at night when I say something, for example, about the DeCarrion Joyner tweet, or when I reply to Jason Brown. I'm not attached to being liked by any certain person or entity or anything of that nature. Even if that certain person wore the Garnet and Black, or is a coach at the Garnet and Black, or works for the Garnet and Black, that doesn't matter to me. I'm not attached to that. I don't need to be liked by those entities. And the goal is to not, it's not to be liked. The goal is to be respected. And the goal is to challenge myself each and every day, to be in competition with myself, and to be authentic and true and genuine to myself as a creator. That's it. I am only loyal to the art and to the creativity. And my number one focus is doing my absolute best and being genuine in my pursuits. That is it. That is it. You have to remove and detach the wanting to control or to have some type of impact on the end result. Remove yourself from that and just create and be real and be genuine and be authentic. And that's why TSUS is what it is and what it's becoming and why it's gotten the heights it's gotten. And I'll tell you this in closing. One of the most incredible things about TSUS, and this is not a knock or a slight on anyone, but it is a reality. One of the most incredible things about this entity and this brand is that we have been able to overcome the greatest opposition has been from those within the entity in which we cover. That's what's so amazing. That's what's so truly incredible. But what it goes to show is this: real will always win. That's why I don't worry about things that are said on social media, outlandish, ridiculous claims. Real, genuine, authenticity, it always wins. It always shines through. And it's why I don't reply to certain things. I don't entertain certain things, because I allow my reputation, my work, those who know me, those who have interacted with me, those who have done work with me, those in my personal life, those I've interacted with throughout my time doing this and throughout my entire life. I let that speak for itself. I let that speak for itself. And that will always be the case. And for those reasons and many more, I'm so excited for the joys and the journey, as I always say, to continue along the journey and I can't wait to see what's next, while also enjoying the heck out of the present moment. Guys, one last thing before we get out of here really quickly. Per Instagram, Gamecocks landed right in a picture. Tyler Dean from Virginia Tech. Gamecocks landed a transfer. Tyler Dean, Virginia Tech, was a reliever last year with a 6.75 ERA in 12 innings pitched. Was the number 98 player in the 2021 class with a mid to upper 90s fastball. That tweet coming from Colin Taylor. So, Gamecocks baseball adding yet another player. Thank you so much for Brendan M. for firing that over. Guys, hit 3 o'clock. Hey, thank you all so much. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Thank you to all those that called. I want to say thank you as well to JD Piquel for him joining the show as he does each and every single Wednesday. Another electric conversation. Guys, thank you all so much. Hey, join the Big Cock Club today. Patreon.com/Big Cock Club, or click the link in our social media bio. You'll see the Big Cock Club link at the top. You can join there. We'll be watching the schedule, the opponents' release stuff tonight, conversating, hanging out, having a good time. Looking forward to that. So anyways, guys, appreciate you all tuning in. Thank you all so much. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. We will talk to you all